Hello and welcome back to Hunt Lowdown, the podcast for fellow four stars. I'm Baldore. I remember to introduce myself this week, and I'm here with Drake, of course.
To be fair, I forgot to last week. So
Yeah, we're professionals.
I like how we're saying last week, like it's been a week since we recorded last.
Yeah, it's been decades since we last recorded. This definitely isn't recorded
2 days after our last
2 days.
recording.
I don't know.
Yeah,
My grasp on time is sketchy. Um, yeah, I don't. Are we just gonna skip like how we been because like it's been 2 days. Like,
it's been two
oh,
days.
yeah,
Listen to the
it's been two
last
days.
episode, which I think is going to be 11. I think, and
Something like that.
yeah, and
We
yeah,
reached double
it's
digits, and now that we've made it, you guys get
that's
releases
making
when
it.
we feel like it,
Yeah, we get to do
aka
our
when
own
we
thing
can.
now.
Yeah, we're 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 rock stars now.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think we should just jump into it because the event does have a bit going on
It
in
does.
it. Yeah, the my comment on it was kind of I felt like we'd had kind of a drought of content for a while because even Serpent Moon was like a bit, but it was there wasn't anything major changing with it. Whereas this one it is like, hey, gameplay changes. Hey, new guns. Hey, potentially new time of day thing. And it's like, oh,
Oh, right.
okay. And like a lot of it is like now the gameplay changes probably ain't it's not necessarily permanent stuff, but like for the event it does feel like a shake up enough. And like
Yeah.
it probably required a lot of testing to get all the glitches out and yeah.
So it makes sense that
So
it took so long for new content to come out.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, and so I kind of want to just jump into it and
Let's go.
get going. So I have sent you the patch notes, so you should have those up. So first thing I want to talk about is we've got the challenges. Ba-da-ba. So challenges are the replacement to summons, which somehow we forgot to mention was removed with the
Oh,
last patch.
yeah.
Um, a lot of people had the complaint of they had to select their summons, which was weird to me. Um, but my bigger complaint with the summons was it felt like a very small pool of challenges, and a lot of them felt very frustrating or would require certain things. And so I liked the summons okay, but I'm not horribly upset to see them go.
Right. I mean, I won't lie. I personally didn't care for having to pick my summons. It was, it's also because I came from the first iteration, which was just given to you. I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's like I see where the
yeah.
positive was of summons, but I also didn't care for picking them myself.
I think the bigger thing is the old ones would be like the weekly to get your blood bonds would be like extract so many times or whatever. And like most of the times they would just play the game and you'd either get them or you wouldn't because
Right.
they were hard to play around. Where a lot of the summons ones were the one that kept coming up for me was get 2 kills with the ammo box.
Oh yeah.
And like some of them were just like, why the freak is this an option? And so it felt a lot of times like you're choosing from suboptimal or frustrating ones, and you could repeat them, but you wouldn't get like the full reward for them. You could only have so many out at a time. And I think most of the time it was more frustrating, especially with you'd be matchmaking and then someone would go, oh god dang it, I forgot to select my summons. Or you'd be
Right.
in a match and you realize you had it. So they've gone from that system where you'd get a number of stars for the week or whatever to the new one is you randomly given is it 2 and 2, right? Two 1 star and two 2 stars challenges?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Two so you get two 1 star challenges and two 2 star challenges. Um and as soon as you complete one, it's immediately refreshed for the next thing. They are tied to the event. So as you complete them, they put stars towards your progress for the event. and it goes so like if you have the battle pass after 3 stars you get 900 event points, and then after that all of them are none of them are linked to the battle pass, and so then you get at 6 stars you get 900 event points, at 9 stars you get 800, then you get 700. Some of them give like a couple blood bonds, but they'll give you event points as you complete them. The 1 star ones would typically be like kill 5 dogs with fire, kill 3 concertina, kill immolators with dusters. Something that will change your gameplay a little bit because you have to bring either special ammo or a certain kind of tool or something like that. But they're always against AI or something in the world. So like the other ones can be like collect pouches. The
Find cash
really
registers.
frustrating one, yeah, the really frustrating one is find cash registers
At
because
least it's
it's
only one. I mean,
yeah, it is only one, but it's basically RNG in what? I think
RNG.
I'm having a stroke. RNG, right?
RNG. Yeah.
Why my mind was going no, it's RNJ. I
Random
don't know
no
why.
random number generator.
Yeah, and like for some reason my mind was going it should be a J at the end. But it's basically fully RNG based, and where most of them like if your buddy throws a lantern and kills a dog that counts towards you. Sorry, hellhounds, because the
Right.
cage dogs don't count.
We have our terminology in game
Yeah,
that we're bleeding
yeah.
into the podcast. Sorry.
I'm assuming most people
I mean,
know exactly
everyone's
what
got
I'm
their own
talking about. Yeah,
terminology, but also,
but
yeah.
yeah. So like, I'm playing with Drake and Drake burns some doggos, I'm fine. Like
He
I
gets
get the
credit.
points.
Yeah.
Cash registers, in addition to being RNG based, you also have to get those yourself, which is
Right. If you pick up the cash
fine.
register in the last use, I don't get credit on my find cash
Yeah,
registers.
and so those are all the 1 star ones. They're typically, I think they're all AI based or do something in the world. I think some of them may also like locate boss layers, but
I
I
mean, that's
don't.
kind of world based as well.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are PvP based. All
Right.
the 2 star ones, I believe, are all PvP based. So do 350 damage with Spitzer, get a quad Derringer kill, kill somebody with a concertina bomb, deal damage with shotguns, deal damage with rifles, get a rifle headshot, get a pistol headshot, get a headshot from 150 meters, um, get a pistol headshot from 50 meters plus, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And those ones you do have to do. Your buddy cannot do them for you.
Correct.
Which can be a little bit annoying because what frustrates me is if you get a headshot from 150 meters, I'm probably like, hey, I'm gonna play like a spoke sniper or something. Um,
Yeah.
and then your buddy's like, well, I guess I'm playing. If you play like me, I typically like to match my loadout to my partner, so this way, like, I'm not sniping and then Drake's having to just sit there with the Romero.
Right.
Like,
Well,
it's if you don't match your loadouts, it can lead to not fun
right.
situation. Now, there's advantages to it
I
too.
was about to
Like I'm
say,
not
yeah.
crapping on anybody because the really nice thing too is if I'm sniping and then somebody pushes up and Drake has a Romero, he can go boop, and
Well,
people don't
hopefully.
typically expect that. Yeah.
Right.
So there's advantages to both. My preference is I just like to match my partner because if he's bringing a shotgun, he's probably gonna want to push, and I don't want him to have to push without support. And like if he's playing a sniper, I don't want to die inside of a boss layer with a bomb lance. So that's basically my reasoning for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are them. What are your thoughts on the challenges, Drake?
I like them. I like them a lot. I think the way that this works is so much better because you get um the 2 and 2
Hmm.
like non PvP PvP, and of course PvP is more beneficial. But and
Yes,
when you complete one, you get another one, and sure it's random, but you don't have to wait. Like you don't have to go
I
pick.
do.
You just get it and go.
I I like it that you feel like you're basically always making progress with the 1 star ones, even if
Yes,
like it's like kill doggers
that
with
too.
fire, and you're like I don't want to play incendiary, and you kill like 1 or 2. You're like I'm still gonna get that in the next match or
Yeah.
two.
Well, and then there's also something we didn't mention is I'm not sure if I think it's per day. You can correct me, but you can reshuffle one card or
You
one
can reshuffle 1 card
challenge.
per day.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
is per day.
Sorry, we mentioned that last time, and I didn't mention it today.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Um,
Um,
actually, can I do that right now?
I do think some of them I really like the system. I like that it gives you event points. It feels like a fun way to engage with the event that's not intrusive. I like that it gives you a sense of progress. My only downside is some of them are extremely frustrating, and you only get one free reshuffle per day. You
Right.
can't buy more. You can't
It's a gamble to
earn more.
reshuffle.
It's not like per match like the recruitment is. Um, and that's really frustrating to me. I think the most frustrating one for me was I really didn't want to play snipers one day, and so I had get a headshot from 125 meters, and so it's like fine, I'll reshuffle that, whatever, and I reshuffled in to get a headshot from 150 meters,
Yeah.
and I was just like, really,
Yeah.
like
I mean, I just
really
I just
high.
reshuffled one of mine just to kind of preview
Hmm.
for stream's sake, or it's not stream, I'm not streaming, but
Yeah,
recording sake. And it was deal damage to enemy hunters using high velocity ammo, 250 points of damage. I reshuffle and I get deal damage to enemy hunters using melee weapons.
yeah,
Which I mean, some people would prefer that, but I would prefer the bullets.
yeah, and it's the thing of there's also the thing of what counts as like for that one, like what counts as a melee weapon. I assume I know sabers count, and that's how I've gotten mine each time. But I'm like, do knives count?
I assume, yeah,
But
knives.
because they're technically melee tools.
I would say if
Do
you're
bayonets count? I
are you talking about throwing knives? Going back to knives, are you talking about throwing knives?
see that. Like, I could assume those would count, right?
I would say not if you threw them. I would
I don't
say
know, but
if
see,
you meleeed with them, then yes.
and if you typically you can answer those questions by typing into the search bar. But if you type in melee weapons into it, you don't get anything. If you type in melee, it'll give you every gun or weapon that has a melee
Well, right, because you can
variant.
melee with. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Hmm. But it won't. But I don't know if those count necessarily for the thing. So I assume they would. But it's enough frustration, especially for players who aren't necessarily familiar, that could lead to some confusion and or
Actually, that's a good
frustration.
point.
Um, and I kind of feel that way with some of the challenge, like get kills with concertina bombs, quad derringer. They can be frustrating to get. They can be expensive to get because you're like, ooh, I'm gonna go for it, and then you end up dying because you're like, I'm trying to get a quad derringer kill.
Right.
Or the other thing is it can also be frustrating because your buddies will be trying to get one.
Right.
I lost several hunters because my buddy was trying to get quad derringer kills or only going for headshots or whatever. Um, and so I like them. I think my big thing is the reshuffle being once per day and no way to get more is a
Yeah.
little frustrating to me.
If there was a way to make it so you could reshuffle more often per day, what would you say you would have to do to
Um,
earn it? Once per match, but that seems like they're just
I would
straight up
like it.
copying the
Yeah, I don't. I think
recruitment.
one. Here's the thing. I would like once per match. I doubt they would actually do that.
I think that's a bit
Um,
much.
I would also like to see because I'm getting so many repeat challenges.
I was gonna say once
Like
per node that you reach.
I've had to kill 4 enemy hunters with quad derringers, and I've had to use Spitzer ammo 4 times as well. And I've gotten the
Jeez,
headshot one 3 times.
this is my
I've gotten
first
two
quad derringer
concertina
one.
kill bombs, and I'm just like I think I might know pretty much all the challenges at this point, and a lot of them feel very niche and repetitive, and not necessarily particularly fun.
Okay.
I think I would be a lot more okay with them if we had a lot more get kills with rifles, get kills with shotguns, play pistols, whatever, right? The
Right.
more generic ones that are forcing you, and I talked about this last time, so I'm not gonna rehash it totally, but it forces you into a weapon group, but it
Right.
doesn't force you into get a quad derringer kill.
Right.
So, I do like
Ooh.
them. Where would you put them in? So we have quest lines, we have challenges, we have the original daily weeklies. Do we have anything else? I think that's the three we've had, right? And summons.
And summons, yeah.
Uh, how would you rank those?
Um, personally, I would put um summons last.
Okay,
I did not like summons.
that's really interesting to me.
The original one second.
Hmm.
Um, and then I would probably do quest lines and then challenges. I actually really like the challenges.
So quest lines would be third for you.
Well, sorry, that was backwards. I was going from the
You
worst
went
forward.
first, you went last, and then second, and then I'm like, okay, what's so
Oh, Sorry, no,
Yeah,
no,
go
no,
go
no.
least favorite to favorite.
Least favorite to favorite. That was the right order. I just said the wrong
Okay,
thing.
so it's
Yeah, the order in which I said it was what I meant.
yeah. Say it again, so because
Okay.
my mind's broken now.
It was my least favorite. The original method was my
Okay.
uh second least favorite.
Yeah, summons,
That's what I meant
illusions,
when I said
quest
second. By the way, it
lines,
was second least.
challenges. Right? So challenges being your favorite, quest lines being next,
Yes,
then
I should have gone in that
illusion.
order.
Okay.
I'm goofy.
Now mine might be absence makes the heart go fonder, right?
Okay.
But I think mine might go um challenges at the top, which
Okay.
I think is good that the current one is what we both rank the highest.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think I don't know what I'd go next. The other ones, I have things I like and I dislike about all of them
Well,
pretty
yeah, for
strongly.
sure. But
I think I'd go the original one actually next,
okay.
and then um, what is it? And then the summons and then quests at the bottom. And I want to
Really?
explain why.
Okay.
Because I like this one, and this one feels like you give me some more reshuffles, you give me bigger pool, I'm good to go, right?
Yeah.
The old one is probably mostly absence makes the head go fonder, but they were typically pretty easy for the daily ones. They give you rewards and they give you one that you got progress with over the course of it. And it'd only really be frustrating when you got one that's really stupid. That was like kill 5 enemy hunters with melee or whatever, and you're like, God dang
Right.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like when you got those, you just be like, cool, I'm ignoring that. My issue with summons was you got there's all the stupid ones. So like I kept getting the ammo box one, and I kept
Right.
getting I very rarely completed the weekly, not because I wasn't playing, but because I felt like I got crap summons as options. And
Okay.
then you always had the one that was tied to like the newest DLC, and it was always the newest DLC.
That
It's
did
never
annoy me too.
like it's never an old one. So like as somebody who had like every old DLC and just didn't have the new one, it was really infuriating to me
Yeah.
to never get that one because I didn't have the brand spanking new one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then quest lines. Here's the thing. I I
Sorry,
really like
you're seeing
quest
some.
lines. Yeah, I really like quest lines in some ways. I like them in the way that they change gameplay and make you do things, but they're so oddly specific and a lot of them are really difficult that they led me to really infuriating places. The worst one was probably the Billy Story one, which was the first one, but like I'm looking at it and I'm deal damage to enemy hunters in one mission using the Stalker Beetle, and it's 50 damage. The Stalker Beetle does 5 damage and then whatever blade they have.
Right.
That's a lot of damage. The Swords of Silver one bankrupt me because I don't like playing that gun, and it was $300 at the time.
Right.
Um, Destroy an enemy Stalker Beetle. I can't do it because I'm not seeing any. It's depending on what other people play, and they're not playing it.
Right.
Use in mission Stalker Beetle. Okay, so my mission is to take the Stalker Beetle and use it and drop it 12 times. Riveting
Right.
gameplay. Kill an enemy with a Stalker Beetle. I kind of like that one. It can be really hard, but it's also pretty fun. We played last night. I tried to get a couple kills with it and
And
succeeded. It's a lot
succeeded.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun, but like it's an interesting one, and it being a little bit more on the higher stairs, I think, is an interesting way to incentivize it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have set living enemy hunters on fire. I think that one's interesting because like you can do with orange juice, you can do with incendiary.
Yeah.
So it can be a little bit infuriating, but like typically, I don't think it's the worst one. And then, but then it's like kill enemies with a certain knife, and it's like okay, you have to take that knife tool now, and 6 enemies for 3 stars. Like
Right.
the nicheness of a lot of them, and a lot of times the price or the frustrating gameplay made the challenge like the quest lines feel really the same thing that made them memorable was also what makes them so frustrating to me.
Right. Well, and to be fair, with this one in particular, a lot of these were geared around the new item that had just come out, and everybody
Yes,
wanted to
yes, yes,
use
yes, yes,
it.
yes.
So I'm
Doing it a little
I
bit
still
later is
have
a
to
bit
do
weirder. Yeah.
yeah, I still have to do the sixth tier of Billy's story here, but So yeah, I'm kind of hosed
It
on a
is
couple of these
curious.
because who's gonna be using
Yeah,
the
no, I'm
stalker
on the same
beetle?
too. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
but at
It's
the
like you
time
can
that it
have that
came out,
quest
I
line just
kind of
in.
get it because everyone had them.
Sorry, I talked over you. But yeah, it's the thing of like the yeah, I'm gonna get the Stalker Beetle one eventually once I can accept that quest. But like, how long is it gonna take me to kill 3 enemy Stalker Beetles? A while.
It's dependent on the enemy players.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that can be frustrating. And I felt like the Halloween one was a little bit better, but there was also it was really frustrating to be like poison enemy hunters, and then you get headshots or enemy hunters would have antidote shots going.
hmm
Like, there's just a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, but like I feel like they fixed that a little bit with some of the later ones because one of the Billy Story ones was deal poison damage, and I like that a lot more because it's like your spokes your spokes deal poison damage whether or not they have an antidote shot, right? It's like you're doing the
Right.
damage, so you still
Right.
get the quest line. So it's not. I don't like it being dependent on what enemy hunters take.
Right. Because you can't like. There's no way to guarantee that.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so that's that. The quest lines at the bottom for me, not because I dislike them. I think they're probably actually my second favorite or favorite in like the theoretical realm space.
Okay.
But in actual implementation, they just frustrated the heck out of me. And you can probably see that if we go back and like if we talked about it on stream, like I was like, yeah, quest lines, these are great, and then like playing them, I was like, oh god, please, I just wanna stop using
End
Swords of
it.
Silver,
End
please,
it
yeah.
now.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I do think it's good that we both put challenges at the top. I really feel like it's an easy fix of just make a wider variety or less niche ones
No,
and give some reshuffle.
that could be coming in time. I mean,
Yeah,
the
this
wider
is
variety because this is literally the first iteration. Is this
yeah.
you know event?
I
So
I will say my complaints with a lot of them talking about it now seem to line up of being too niche,
yeah,
or too frustrating is kind of a complaint through each one. And so
or
I'm
relying on
almost
other people.
wondering, yeah, I'm almost wondering if this is barking up the wrong tree. Like if them changing the implementation effectively doesn't matter, if the real problem has just been the actual, because
Challenges
effectively they've all
themselves.
been the same challenges.
Right.
And I think they need to. I kind of wish they'd just come out with a big poll and just put like every single challenge that they've put on like a code on any of the codes, any of the options,
Yeah.
and just have the be like community rank them.
Vote or rank
Like
them. Yeah.
you put each one, you can get like give it 1 to 5 stars or whatever, and
Right.
give the thing of like 3 is like an average challenge, 5 is I really like it, 1 is please God stop, right? And so then for me it'd be like, okay, Spitzer's not a 1 please God stop because you just play Spitzer ammo for a little bit, right?
Right.
But like kill an enemy with the concertina bomb is probably a 1 for me because it's forcing me to take a consumable that I don't necessarily always want to take and use it in a way that I don't necessarily want to use it, right?
Yeah.
Like typically I want to use it for zoning or covering a revive, and they're like, use it as aggressive, and I'm like, that is an option. That's not typically why I take one though.
Right. I mean,
Um,
maybe that's why they have the card though, is they want to incentivize people to use it differently than what it's typically used for. So I don't
yeah,
know.
but I think that's the thing where like like if we had more reshuffles, I'd be fine with it being on there because like then sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm in the mood to do that, and sometimes it'd be like, heck no.
Right.
But I think it'd be really good for them to take a community poll and see what people like and don't like, especially because like I might be the outlier. Like I'm sure if we went into
Right.
each
Right.
one, like we'd have some that like we disagree on
You know what I
where
should
we put them, but
I should actually start. Well, I should start utilizing the Hunt Lowdown Twitter more. And
make a
by the
Twitter
way,
poll.
we have a Twitter. Yeah, because
We have a Twitter apparently.
there's a poll system there, and I could totally
Yeah,
use that for like getting people's opinions on stuff.
and I think that'd be
That'd be
really
great.
neat. But yeah, I think that'd help. I think that would be a much faster way to get a lot of community feedback on it. Now they also have access to the information that we don't. How often was this challenge reshuffled? How
Right.
often um
That would be nice to
did
know.
was this one actually completed? right? They're gonna have a lot of those.
Right, the analytics.
Um, I have had one moment where I was playing against somebody and I realized they're going for the concertina bomb one because they tried to kill me 4 times in a row with concertina bombs. Like the I could
Uh,
tell both of the teammates because they just kept yeeting concertina bombs at me. I'm like, I might win this engagement because they're trying to get a quest, and that's kind of frustrating to be on the other side of too.
right.
But I like the challenges. I'm excited to see where they go with them. I feel like if they make some slight tweaks to it for the next event, it could be a system that I'd like staying around. The only weird thing with it being it's kind of tied to the event.
Yeah.
If we don't have an event going, uh I guess they could do the weekly chat. They could go back to, hey, if you get 25 little diamond things, you get blood bonds or whatever, which is fine.
Yeah,
So,
I'm kind of curious how they're gonna replace the uh
do you?
the pips that give event points on the weekly
Yeah, I do think that's
challenges.
a quick question we should address. Do you like it being tied to the event as opposed to earning blood bonds?
Well, it still gives blood bonds, and it's more or less the same
Yeah.
amount. Well, I think
Oh,
it's
one
less.
second. It does. One second. I think it actually does it give more or less? I can check real fast. I think it
5,
gives
10,
slightly less.
15, 25,
So
which
you
I
have
think is the same.
yeah, no, that's the same amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically gave both best of both worlds. Hey, points to Crytek. Way to
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good change. The only thing is that's a long bar with a lot of pips related to an event that are gonna go
Yeah.
away, you know. So I don't know,
It
maybe they'll end up
man,
splitting up the blood
sometimes
bonds into different smaller pips to spread out, maybe when there's no
I'm fine
event
with them
going.
being at the end because it used to be you wouldn't get any till the very end.
Oh,
I think the
fair,
big
yeah.
thing is like sometimes you're like, man, like sometimes I've like one night I completed I think like 20 in one night because I just got ones that I happened to get. So like one of them was get pistol headshots, get headshots from 50 meters, and then one match I got a headshot
Right,
with a deadeye rattlesnake from 50 meters. And it's like okay, there's four pips right there, right?
right. If I can do it
And
all in one
so
match.
well, and then sometimes you're like concertina bomb quad damage, and you're just like, oh boy.
Yeah, here we go.
And you're like,
Here
you're
we
just
go
stuck there
again.
for a while. I've already used my reshuffle. No challenges for me tonight, right?
Right.
And like, so it can be really good. It can be really feels bad, and I think that's kind of the issue they've got with it right now. But generally, I think it's an improvement. Hopefully, the good. It'll. I imagine it's going to improve with the next event.
I would hope so. I
So
mean, so far they've been doing a good job with it, with the iterations improving.
yeah, and they clearly care about it. Like they do. I do appreciate that they didn't just go, "This system's fine. Stop complaining," or
Right. Yeah, yeah,
just okay. If you don't want it, we drop it. Like I do appreciate that it is something they seem to care about, and it is something just to reward players.
yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Next thing I have on it. Now we're doing this in a specific way, so we're kind of gonna cover all the smaller topics first, and then we're gonna hit like the gameplay changes and their overall opinions at the end.
Okay.
So, event timeline. So this is kind of boosts, battle pass, and like unlock speed. So basically, it's if you have the battle pass, you get a couple things at the beginning, like the Vit shot, and I think everybody gets everybody gets the Iron Head at one, and then you unlock some ammo types, so like Springfield and Pax Poison. Then you get the Centennial Trauma, Dragon's Breath, and by I think it's by 25 you've unlocked all of the weapons. By 24
Uh,
you've unlocked all of the new weapons, which
right.
I like that it's fairly early on. I still think I wish it was a little bit faster, but I don't think it's horrible.
Fair.
And it does incentivize it. Um, I think this is my favorite progression of stuff. They've moved up some of the unlocks earlier, and then you get like the. It seems like a reasonable thing of you unlock weapon like okay, Pax Springfield Poison. I think is the first new thing. It's like yeah, that seems reasonable to be the very first unlock, right?
Right. Now who like
'Cause it's
everyone probably has this base Springfield, which I think is
yeah,
default new.
yeah, no, I think it's rank one,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I
right?
mean.
So like everybody will have it, everybody will be able to play it. You get it pretty quickly. It's as much like the Springfield, it's pretty minimal impact, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah, it is one.
And then you move into like things that like might be like a little bit easier to use, like you put like packs and stuff, and you're like, okay, cool. FMJ packs have been something that people like us have been asking for a while, so it's like, hey, that's exciting. And then you start getting things like the trauma, which is like new weapon variant, but again, it's pretty similar to the original one, so minimal impact. And
Right.
then you get the gameplay changes, where it's like pretty heavy changes in how you play the bomb lance if you have a shotgun attachment, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then Martini that is lever action. Like that's gonna be a gameplay change. So I think I like that, and I think they did a similar thing with Serpent Moon, right? Where like the
Uh,
Spikes pistol and the Alamo were near the end. But I think they were
I
farther along.
I think they were more mid, but yeah.
Yeah. But I do like that system, and then it's a bunch of legendaries near the end. So
You know,
like
I
after the
I
Crag,
didn't
you get
actually
the Crag
realize.
special ammos. What's up?
Sorry, I didn't actually realize that the iron side was lever action.
I think it's lever action.
You said
It's
it, so
it's
I'm
not
believing you. It says
it's
a
not
repeating
lever.
rifle.
It is, yeah, it's not lever action in
Okay.
any mechanical sense, but the way it repeats is there's a lever on the bottom. So like it's not, you
It's
don't
not a
lever
lever
it.
action in terms of game
Yeah,
mechanics. You can't utilize like
yeah.
levering with the Martini Henry.
I don't think I've only played it once. I don't think it's affected by iron repeater. I believe it's
Okay.
just you're fine. Like you
Okay.
just use it. I can check real fast. Iron repeater. Do do
Scroll,
do.
scroll.
Score. Yeah, it's not affected by end here.
Okay.
But so it's just a hey, that's how it works. Which, by the way, if you want to laugh, pull it up in the 3D view in the store, and then watch the fire it, and then watch the reload. The bullet at the top flies out, and then the second one, to make the animation happen in the time, it doesn't like fall down and then like roll in. It's just like sucked into the chamber,
Hold
which
on.
is which is entertaining to me.
So 3D view.
And then just look at the place where it pops, like the bullet pops out, and then fire, and then just watch. Yeah, there it is.
So wow, yeah.
And it's
Interesting.
as a look, I do animation. If you have 1 second, it's like 1 second, and you have about 24 frames to make the previous bullet get out and the new bullet to get in, and you don't want to block your player's view for too long. So I'm like, now as an animator for like the game and stuff, like they probably did the best they could. I think it like for gameplay, it's great. As just a, is that how it would work? No, and it makes me giggle. So I like it
Wild.
though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just fun to watch it be like slurped in.
Right. I wonder
Um,
if like when you're in game and you reload, does your character's hands actually move it or
I
does
think
it?
so.
Okay, good.
I think you like rack the bottom of it.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to play. Again, I played it once, so
Right. Okay. I'm excited to
uh,
try it. I'm still not there yet though.
yeah. And then after that, we have special ammo for the Crag. We've got all the legendaries. We've got some blood bonds. I think you can get 700 blood bonds. So it's 100. Let me check.
I think it's 700.
So
That sounds right.
it's 100, 200. So 300. Ah, the way it scores is odd. So 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. Oh, there's 300 at the end, so you can actually get 1,000 of your back through the battle pass if you get to rank 48.
Right. Okay.
And then all of the last couple ones are all legendaries. So there's two new legendary hunters, one at 29 and one at the end. Um, I don't particularly care for Chekhov's widow, but I kind of like um good old Kevin.
Good old Kevin.
Good old Kevin. I think he's a interesting legendary, and I'm hoping to unlock him.
Kevin
Um,
Linus.
yeah, and then it's just blood bonds and charms, which I'll be honest, the only charm that like I'm really fond of is the night piece, and so
Which is funny. That's actually my least favorite.
I mean it's just taste.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, it's all the other, as much as like I know I've complained about like them kind of losing the tone,
Yeah.
but the night piece does feel a little bit tonally odd, but like it kind of works in game because it's a little bit of a beat up night piece, and I like chess a lot. I was in
Oh,
chess
fair.
club, So it's neat to me, and a lot of the other ones are either too much or extremely grim dark, and I just go, So that's kind of my
Right.
issue with them.
Okay.
Like they just block view and they look funky in game. Like I
My
like
only
Serpent.
my only
I
thing
like
is the fact that when you move, they move
they wiggle.
independent, and they make me
You know,
make me like want to look over there.
it doesn't typically bother me, but I played the Serpent's Moon one, and man, it just every time my eye was drawn to it, so I had to stop playing that one because it just drove me bonkers in game.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's a couple new legendaries. I think all the legendaries are pretty solid. Um, so I'm hoping to get the end of it, but I'm at the point where if I don't, I'm pretty happy with it. I kind of want
Okay.
my big motivators. I want Kevin and I want the Blood Bonds.
I want Kevin.
I want to play as Kevin.
Give me
I just
Kevin.
it's freaking hilarious to me that they're like the Jesus figure, the savior of the bayou, the
Kevin.
um who's fought for all his being, Kevin Linus.
I like that. I like it more that his last name is Linus. I don't know why. That just
Yeah,
cracks me
it's
up.
another like fairly normal name, and it makes me think of the old Peanuts cartoons.
Yep. Yep.
It's just funny to me because I'm like, you have like Ochekanov's widow, the headsman, Kevin.
I mean, to be fair, his legendary name is False Saint, not Kevin.
Yeah, but I'm like,
But
all the other names are either very much like tied to the time period of the game
right.
in the way of now Kevin is probably a name that existed, but
I
it's
mean,
kind of the
yeah,
thing
I'm
of like
sure.
there's a lot of historical facts that just because they're true doesn't mean they'll be interpreted that way by people. So it's kind of the thing of like if this was set in Egypt, right? We'd
Yeah.
expect pyramids. But like there's probably some things in actual Egyptian history that if it showed up we'd be like, that's weird.
True.
So
True.
um but I'm like looking at the other names. We've got, Gus, Dr. John Bukes.
I mean,
So like we do have
John
some
was a
other
common
ones.
name.
Yeah. I guess we have Gus and Thomas. I think the thing that's funny to me isn't necessarily that it's a legendary named Kevin, more so that they're like in the story they're putting this focus on him and it's just such a like I know a couple Kevins and it's just
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. I
hey
got you.
Kevin, you're in the game now.
Yeah.
So
Some-
yeah. Anyway, off of my Kevin way. The battle pass is fine. I like that all the unlocks are fairly early, little bit later than I'd like. Um, because like I kind of think if I was so excited about some of them that by the time I actually ended up getting to them, I was kind of some of that excitement to play had kind of worn off.
right.
The big one being the iron side. Like it took me just long enough that when I finally unlocked it, I was like, okay, all right. Um, the
I'm
other
still
thing
not
is,
there.
yeah, the other thing with it is, like, I really want to play it, but then I get like play Spitzer, get pistol
Oh,
headshot,
right. Yeah.
and
The
I'm
things
like,
you don't
oh,
want.
and I'm like, well, I guess I can't play normal rifle because the game wants me to use Spitzer ammo, and so I've had some weird moments like that.
I see.
The other thing that worth mentioning is Drake is correct. The boosts are a lot cheaper with this one. Um, you can spend for a 3 hour contract. It is 60 blood bonds. For 24, it is 100. For a 3 day, it is 200. They give an additional 50% bonus. Um, and yeah, the other thing you can buy is a event level for 300, which it's a bit odd to me because I'm like, if you're spending
I
300 blood bonds, I'd prefer to buy the 3 day contract, assuming I have any time.
right.
But having the option to be like, oh, I can't quite like it's the last day of the event. I'm at level 49 and I want Kevin.
Right. I feel
Spend
like
300 blood bonds.
the
Yeah,
3 day contract is a much bigger bang for your buck because I mean even without a boost active, you can get a
I
couple of
I
levels in a
think
night.
it's a
Easy.
really good way to do it because having cheaper contracts that encourage you to play the game is a win for
Right.
players
That's
because
true.
then when you play the game, you don't have to spend as many blood bonds to get the same crap. I should have been using these. I actually didn't realize how cheap they were, and it kind of annoys me. But that's completely my fault.
Right.
Um, and then it's a win for Crytek because you have players wanting to play more to get the most out of their boosts.
Right.
Um, and then the people who can't afford it can spend extra, and like I don't feel ripped off then if I'm like it's cheaper to buy the contract boost now. So like I don't feel like if I'm playing a lot, I don't feel like somebody paying more to get stuff unlocked quickly is as much of a pay to win or pay to unlock because I I still got a boost.
Right.
Probably helped me more than they paid for, right? So I think it's a really good way to do it. Um, the other things you can get is you can get the funeral dirge, which continues to be 1,000 blood bond legendary for the event. It seems like this is a thing they're going to
Continue to
continue on
do.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Well,
This is probably my
it's
least.
because it's tied to the
It's tied
Ardent
for
prize.
the loyalty. Yeah. This is probably my least favorite of the legendaries they've done for it. Mainly just because I don't play Bornheim, and if I'm playing Bornheim, uh, the what is it, 10 paces or whatever, and then the, no golden ticket. That's what it is. The golden ticket, and there's another Bornheim legendary that I like already. So I'm probably playing one of those. 1,000 blood bonds is quite a bit. And then you can buy a weapons charms bundle, which for 3 charms you can get Pan's head, Tarnished Wing, and Celine's lock, which are moth wings? Question mark.
It's kind of hard to
Uh,
tell. It looks like it though.
a moon with some hair, and I assume it's a goat head because I assume that's
It looks like a go head.
Pan's head
Yeah.
because Pan from Greek mythology. And like that's I it's fine to have a bundle. It seems like for 3 charms, 1,400 blood bonds seems like a lot to me.
Yeah. I'm. Those are those in the battle pass, or is that
I don't think those are in the battle pass.
so?
I
Those
think
are
those are separate.
exclusive. Okay.
I believe those are separate. I'm checking right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are separate. Which
Interesting. Don't know
it's
how I
hard
feel
for me
about
to
that.
judge it because as somebody who doesn't particularly want any of those three,
Yeah.
like
Same.
having them be expensive isn't something that really annoys me in a personal sense because I don't particularly care about
Well,
them.
how much? That's what, $15?
Yeah,
That's a lot.
blood bonds are weird too because
See, I'm unfortunately a
it's
collector for games that I like.
it's not necessarily 15 because you have to spend 22 to actually get the amount of blood bonds you need.
Right, but if
Which is
you're
but you're also getting the bonus blood bonds are priced really weirdly.
have they changed recently?
No, but it's like it's 7,000. It's 7,000 for 40, but that's because you get the more bonus, the more money you spend.
Right.
And so it's like technically it's 1,000 blood bonds is $10, but that's not
Right.
necessarily accurate because if you're paying it at the thing they kind of expect, because like even without the bonus, because it's all the other ones are also scratched out in their price, like they're on permanent sale effectively.
Right.
Like it's 100 blood bonds equals $1, or 1,000 blood bonds equals $10. But then once you get to $25 for 2,500 blood bonds, it actually only costs 22 because they take some off. Once you get to $50, it's actually only $40, and then they give you an additional 2,000 blood bonds. And
Right.
like, so if we're going by that, then $40 you're
It's
but
just
if
a
we're going
higher.
by 1,000 equals 10, then for $40 you're getting $70 worth of blood bonds, which I don't feel like is an accurate
Yeah, that's very
portrayal of it.
strange.
And so it's a bit funky in the I guess the economy of it. So other things they have
It
is they
makes it
have
look good though.
yes. They also have bundles. So for 1950 you can get the Infernal one, which is all the hunters pledged to the Infernal Pact. So Knight Acolyte, Knight Seer, Hackshaw Jax, and Private Eye. Um, and then for grounded, you can get Carcass Gunrunner, Lunar Wolf, Dire Wolf for 1725. Lunar, for 900, you can get the Redneck and the Reverend, which I think is probably the
I
sale
thought
most
it
with
was
it.
goofy that the lunar patch doesn't have the Luna Wolf in it.
It does, doesn't it?
No, Luna Wolf. You
Oh
just
no,
it's
because
in
Lunar
grounded.
Wolf is grounded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, so hunters will provide. This is something else we didn't mention with the event progression. Some legendary hunters will provide a buff, because some of them are tied to one of the packs that we'll talk about in a minute,
Right.
and so some of them can only go to that pact. So I actually bought the Lunar Wolf thinking it would give me a buff because it's one of the special legendary hunters for the event. It's tied to a pact. I spent a couple hundred blood bonds to get it to just for the buff. I don't particularly care about the skin, and then I realized you only get the buff from one or two hunters from each
Yeah.
thing. So, which is again my fault, but it's also the thing of I felt like they could have broadcast that a little bit better.
Yeah. Having
Um,
that on the front page would
if
have been
you
nice.
Yeah, if you miss the stream, which is quite easy to do if you're, an American who works most of the time when the stream is, or you're just busy at the time. The patch notes are a lot of information to take in and can kind of be how to skim for this kind of information. It seems
Right.
something very
And
easy. I feel like it should have been signposted a little bit better.
the one like
But I don't know
shortened
how.
the one TLDR video that I saw that was like took that and went it down to 10 minutes didn't cover that very well. So it was
Yeah,
a thing that was
it
easily skipped. It looked like.
yes, it skipped out a lot, and that's the kind of frustrating thing with it for me. But so like I've been playing the archaeologist because I have that one and it gives a buff. But yeah, I think
That
that's
buff
all
is
the
just a 10% bonus to points, right?
yes.
Okay.
So you can get the buff from that. You can get the buff from Signy is back. Um,
Signy is back.
Signy is back. This is the only event where I'm not really annoyed if my partners take it, and we'll talk about why in a second. Um, but yeah, you can get it from Legendary Hunters. You can get it from Signy, and you can get it from buying a contract. In addition, they did have a Christmas Day one where on Christmas and like that Friday, it was like that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you could get a bonus 20%, I think,
Oh, okay,
just by
cool.
playing, which was nice. Um, I mean, if you're playing Hunt on Christmas, sure, get some points.
Yeah,
Um,
might as well.
yeah, I like that they did that. I feel like they're doing slightly better with the. I feel like the boosts are better with pricing.
Yep.
I feel like they've hit the point where they're expensive enough. I'm not going to just buy them crazy. Um, I'm tempted to spend some real money to get them because I feel like they're more reasonably priced, but they don't feel like something where I'm like upset about buying them. Like, yeah, this seems. I feel like they've hit the pricing for it pretty well.
Yeah,
The battle pass, I still like the battle pass.
me
The
too.
thing again, the thing that
I still
bugs,
like it.
yeah, the thing that bugs me more about the battle pass. I've been asking for it for way before they introduced it. I thought it would be a really good way to help with Hunt, and I think they implemented it well. My issue isn't with the battle pass; it's again with all the monetization they've done. Um, and this is again why like my monetization complaints so confuddled because it's like they do a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The thing I really do like, we mentioned this last time, but I really really like this. All of the levels are 1,000 points.
Yeah,
Thank
they
God,
equalized it.
it's so freaking nice. Because the last one being like, okay, I'm at 30, I have to get to 50, but it increases by 100. Let's go pull out sine and cosine and my calculator, look it up on
Right.
the internet of how many. Like, oh, so
What is my
frustrating.
trajectory?
And then it's also nice of then looking at the challenges and being like, oh, my next tier is 900 points. Assuming I get 100 points in a match or two, and I complete those three challenges, like, oh, cool, I'm gonna get a level in about an hour or two, or
Yeah.
half an hour, whatever. It's like, hey, it's so much more, it's so much easier to predict, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. When you don't have to sit here and math out how much time you got to spend to get it to the
Yes,
next level is nice.
it's such a small thing, but it really does make the game so much more accessible. And with the game's barrier to entry of being a competitive permadeath shooter, I think this event's been really, really good for being much more friendly to new players in the sense of how it's set up. I think the only thing that's not friendly to new players is the amount of information presented is significant and could be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to add on Battle Pass pricing, anything like that?
Honestly, no. It's a bad habit that I'm in is I have nothing else to add when you're done with what
The
you
the,
have to
the
say.
problem is we kind of like expositing stuff and like I that's kind of just baldy exposits for a bit. So,
But
all right, legendaries. You got any thoughts on legendaries?
um, they're detailed and I like them. They're
Yeah.
which one's your favorite so far?
That's weird for me
Out of the new ones.
because here's the thing: it would be Zeal, the legendary Vit shot,
Yeah.
but since they raised the big Vit shot price, I don't play it anymore.
Okay.
And so then it would be the Spitfire, but I have the Enigma, which I like probably more.
Okay.
Then it'd probably be Linus, but I haven't gotten good old Kevin, but I haven't gotten him yet, and so that makes it a bit weird. Um, I like the Hive Bomb one a lot, but
I
I
actually
never.
do too.
But I'm not gonna bring the Hive Bomb. The Concertina one would be cool because Concertina wire, but like
If the wire itself
it
looked
doesn't do anything.
different, then it'd be
Yeah, it
cool.
doesn't do anything.
If
It's
anything,
yeah
it looks like it's got white paint on it or something. That it actually looks
yeah.
like it'd be worse to take because people might be able to see it better,
It's
depending.
kind of lame to me. And then the stamina shot would be really cool, but when they changed the stamina shot prices, I like stockpiled them, so I have like 70 in my inventory.
Okay.
Um, so like unless I prestige, I'm never gonna play it.
Right.
So I'd probably go with the knight charm because I like the knight charm a lot.
Okay.
And then
I don't know if I'd count those as legendary. I don't think those are.
okay,
Oh,
if that doesn't count, I'm gonna go with
well,
obituary,
it,
the Lamat carbine.
okay.
I like the Lamat carbine. It's very detailed, but it's not overwhelming, and I like that a lot. And I like the designs on the barrel. It looks cool in first person. So
Okay. I haven't actually held it because I'm not far enough. But the talisman, the crag,
hmm
it looks like
it's neat.
what's his name? The Night Acolyte and the Night Seer, like his cloak
Yeah,
and their cloaks and whatever. It kind of looks like that. It looks like a gun that's meant for them, and I kind of like that.
that's a good point. It does feel like it ties into one. And
But
like the one that makes me a little sad is the Dying Sun because I really like it, but it's not quite as cool as it. If my thing with it is it looks very similar to the gold Spitfire,
right, yeah.
and it just that I'm like okay. Um, I really wish we got a small Vit shot legendary too. The other one that is
Eventually.
kind of an honorable mention is I don't know if this counts because it's not an event one, but I'm fairly certain it's new with this update. Is the last transaction, which is the Sparks pistol. Um,
Uh.
it's got like a white wood handle and like a gold
Oh, okay. I hadn't seen this
embroidery.
one yet.
Yeah, and I'm fairly certain it's new with this update, and I like it a lot. But it's 900 blood bonds, and I'm like,
Yeah, that
that's
can go on
$10.
sale.
Well, hmm.
Oh, it almost looks
Again
like
with the
bone on the handle,
yeah,
almost.
I think it's really really neat, but it's the thing of it's $10 question mark with how buying blood bonds works.
Right? Yeah. Question mark. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the
Hmm.
thing. The other thing I want to mention is we had Malady with Twitch drops, and we had a couple like previous consumables before. I do like that they did a legendary Vit shot. I do like that they did a legendary. We've got we've got a lot of legendary consumables now.
Right.
We've
They
got
finally
Dynamite
started
Bundle.
doing those.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they saw that the first one was popular and it's like, ooh.
Yeah,
Um
we can make more money. Let's go.
they still need to patch the scavenger snare though to have
Oh yeah,
scrappy wire.
of course they do. In
They do
fact,
that with the Moth they do that with the Mothman event though, I'm sure.
oh of course. Whenever they finally get around to the Mothman.
Yeah, I mean, it'll happen eventually.
Eventually, we'll get there.
Not that we can say because of our non-disclosure agreement, but
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
okay. Anything else to add on the legendaries?
No,
I think this is
no.
one of my. I think this is. I like this batch a lot more than some of the previous batches. I think big thing.
Oh, how do you like Widow as a skin?
I like. Here's the thing. I don't like it because it's not particularly my vibe,
Right.
for lack of a better. It's not my aesthetic. However, I really like that it's different, but it fits the
The whole
the
hunt
tone of Hunt pretty
aesthetic.
well. I think.
Yeah,
Even if it's a little bit more grim darky than I think
it needs to be.
it feels a bit edgy.
It is pretty
Um,
edgy.
but
Well,
again, I feel like Hunt's been moving that way, and I'm not a huge fan of the edginess in it. But
I figured that at some point they were going to, but yeah.
yeah, I feel like they've really, and that's
As long as they
I feel like they've
eventually
gotten
come around to
very edgy.
doing, sorry.
It just feels like early Hunt felt very grounded, and then
Right.
it feels like
More of a
people
western.
complained with Necro that like they're like, oh, it's magic-y. I'm like, yeah, and I think that kind of opened the floodgates of, oh, if they're okay with reviving your teammates using dark side magic, we can do whatever the crap we want
Right.
as long as we
Oh,
throw in dark
I
side
won't lie. I kind of like
into them.
the dark side magic-y side of things, but I wish it was more
I
subtle.
Yeah, it feels like they've really toned it up to be over the top with like the originally it was like, hey, the spider was created in some sort of ritual. We don't know what, but like a bunch of bodies in the ditch. Now it feels like if that was introduced now it'd be like, here's the person actually cutting up the bodies and performing some magic ritual, and
Right.
it feels a lot more edgy because of that, and
More
I
in
feel
your
like it's lost
face
the subtlety that made it
and lost the
intriguing to me
mystery.
in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Which I mean, they're coming out with a TV show supposedly, so you know,
oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe they'll end up explaining a lot of the stuff, so it kind of needs to
Oh,
be done. But
I hope they don't. I really want it to be down to earth, and from the new stuff, it seems like if they share the same writer, it's going to be really
they share the
over
same
the
writer.
top. And if they, well, yeah, like I assume they're gonna have
I
some
assume.
conversations between the writers, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
That was
common.
just a funny
I
comment.
mean, well, I say that, and then we have like the Halo TV show, and like they clearly didn't talk to the writers,
Right.
so who knows? But okay, let's shut up and move on. That was legendaries. Next thing, wildfire. We have a new map, time of day thing.
I was about to say,
Um,
finish that
it's
sentence.
called yeah, it's called wildfire. It's there's a bunch of wildfire on the map that blocks off parts that with giant walls of fire, and it makes the day very smoky. So it's a little bit obscuring, but not as bad as fog.
Right.
Um,
It puts.
you get
Go
it
ahead.
blocks a lot of lines of sight, is what it
Yes,
does.
it does. Where you could previously see through trees to like try to snipe someone.
Hmm.
It's like, nope, there's a massive pillar of smoke there now. Good luck.
Yep.
I actually like that a
Uh,
lot.
it cuts off a lot of your shortest distance now isn't necessarily the best because if you have to go through fire, that's going to limit the paths you can take unless you're the Infernal Pact.
Right.
Um, and even then, uh, you have to burn patch marks, what not pack marks for it. And that can be a downside. But
Well, that's
so
if you go
it
down,
cuts
right?
off. Yeah, it cuts off. Well, no. The pack marks are anytime you burn off a chunk, then it will refill your chunk to full instead of burning it, but it will burn a pack mark.
Oh, right, right, right. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and so it's basically it changes some of your travel, how you can go to places, and lines of sight at the big two, as well as the fog and slightly dimmer lighting in daytime. Uh, yeah. How do you feel about it?
I like it. I like it a lot. My one major complaint is that it's not random around the map. It's always when wildfire is enabled, all the
Hmm.
fire is in the same spot every time.
Isn't
That
there a couple options it can be, or is it always the same?
I'm pretty sure it's always the
I
same.
thought there was.
I'll
I
have to,
thought there was
you know what?
two or three.
I'll double check, but
I could be wrong. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's the same spots every time, and
What
that's
I
a bummer to me.
what I do like is if you look at the map, the fire pillars and the burned out places on
Yeah.
the map,
Yep. I like
which is
that too.
nice, and it helps with navigation a lot, as well as being a very natural way to integrate it. And I'm really impressed at such an elegant solution, quite frankly.
Yeah, actually. Um, and I like the idea of the wild card system overall. Because it it gives us a little bit of new map content, world content, without them having to create an entire new map.
What's the by wild code? Do you just mean the thing where like it blocks stuff and all that?
Like, well,
Because isn't it effectively just a new time of day that affects gameplay more? Unless
I
it's
think
nighttime.
I think like time of day is not necessarily wild card. I think that's something that I wish
How
they
are
would
they?
do. I wish they would make
How
a
are they? How are they
nighttime.
meaning? How are they meaningfully different? Though is my question.
It's just the fact that it changes gameplay in like the world,
Nighttime changes gameplay.
but it like actually blocks you from doing things. Nighttime doesn't do that.
If
I
the
mean,
wildfire
you
blocks
will
line of
do
sight the
different
same way fog
things,
does.
but okay, true.
It's the thing of it's
I guess
different.
mechanically,
I
but they're
don't know if
calling it
it's
a wild card or what?
yeah.
Wild. What are they calling it? It's
They're calling it
wildfire is the
they're
actual
calling it a
thing.
wild card or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the thing of it's not meaningfully enough different to really separate it from a time of day for me.
I guess
Because like it doesn't combine with
it
it's the
appears
thing of it
different
is a
enough
time of
though.
day. Like you can't have night wildfire.
But see, I would love if they did that. That would be
That would be
awesome.
rad.
Fog wildfire, night wildfire,
Fog wildfire might
dusk
be a bit
wildfire.
much.
I'd still play it. That'd be fun
Yeah,
because
but
especially a night one because night
yeah, but it,
it
it seems it seems just like a time of day to me right now, which is fine. But it's
I
part of
guess
the appeal of the map to me too is it does change the skybox like a time of day does, and it gives that like orange tint and like slight
right.
smoke to everything, which I do like.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing I want to mention that the other thing I'm really impressed is, let's be frank, Hunt is not always the best optimized,
Yeah.
and I think they did a really good job of it not tanking frame rates and stuff like everybody expected.
Well, I didn't actually expect this big of a change, so I didn't expect anything.
Well, when they
But
when they first announced it, I think everybody was like,
oh, I
because
see.
the meme I saw going around was like, Hunt devs talk about how they can't do snow or rain because it would affect performance. Also, Hunt devs, hey, here's wildfire.
Right. Okay. Yeah. They could totally do rain.
I would say the thing that bugs me a little bit about it is the wildfire does also when you're near it, you can't hear
Yeah.
nothing.
I mean
Um,
that's why I feel like it separates it from time of day enough is like it affects your movement,
I
but
don't.
it forces you out of movement and it forces you your hearing to alter how you play.
Here's the thing. It's purely semantics we're talking right now, and like it's not different enough from a time of day for me to count it as something different, mainly because it doesn't overlap with times of day. Like for it to be different than a time of day,
Because it doesn't overlap with times of day,
yeah,
then I agree that it is basically a time of day.
yeah.
But I think
It's
it
just a
affects
different name for it.
gameplay much more than any of the time of the days typically do.
I do agree with that. It's just calling it something different to me is like,
Well, I'm calling it something different because they're calling it something different.
yeah, I know, but I think that's a bit dumb because
Oh, okay.
it's just adding more complexity to a game that does not need it, and it doesn't. The extra complexity of calling it wildcard versus time of day is just more confusing for new people in a game that does not need to confuse new people any more than it already does.
That's an opinion.
Okay.
I don't really think Hunt's that confusing.
I don't think Hunt's that confusing, but I think the barrier to entry is quite steep,
I
and I
think the
would
barrier
much
of entry
prefer.
is higher level players who know what they're doing.
What?
The barrier
Do you
to
know what barrier
entry,
means?
yeah, to get into something
Yeah.
or to not get into
So what
something.
do you mean the barrier of entry is higher level players?
Like that's the frustrating part of the game is higher level players and not knowing the game because you're dying all the time. You can't learn it.
Yeah, because you but like keep in mind, we know like damage drop off and muzzle velocities and all
True.
that now.
True.
I would much prefer new players focus on learning what the difference between the damage drop offs is and like understanding that versus learning the difference between a time of day and a wild card.
I mean, fair. I would rather players learn how to kill an immolator properly than worry about damage drop
But
off.
that's my point. Like there's a bunch of stuff to of barriers of entry to playing the game well. There's a lot of stuff to understand
Right.
before you are playing. I don't want to say effectively because again, you can play really effectively if you're just a COD player who has
Right.
you
Good
know
aim.
yeah. But
And some
it's the thing
situational
of
awareness.
to get the I guess the specific hunts like the hunt specific set of skills.
Hmm.
It's just I don't like having them. This is pointless. This whole
It actually is kind of
I, I mean it
We're tangenting.
it isn't pointless because the fact that we both care a little bit about it is
It's a
gives
good
it
thing.
some width, but it's the thing of the amount of time we give it is not proportional.
Right.
So anyway,
Depending on how long the final cut of this is, I might cut that out.
nah, leave it. Put it in like the like afterwards. It
Okay,
was
yeah.
fun.
Okay. It's just us ranting.
Basically, yeah, I like Wildfire. I like that it changes some stuff up. The big thing is I'm glad that they implemented something like this that doesn't tank gameplay, which hopefully indicates that they can do it again with something else.
Right. It's like they're learning.
Yes. The I know a bunch of people complain about the smokestacks looking a bit funky.
Me.
Yeah, but like I'm fine with it because yeah, that like again, I animate stuff.
Right.
That's that
It's
yeah,
just
you have to pay some negative to have that
and
performance, and
I
that
totally understand
I think they
that.
did a good job of it. Yeah.
I do understand that, but it's just for me to look around and see all the smoke and fog and it's fading out and like, like the edges of it are blurred between itself and the sky, like it's neat looking, and then you look over at the pillar and it's like here's this warping looking snake thing that looks like it could belong in an underground alien hive cave. It's just like that's very odd to me, and I don't think smoke works like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think smoke works like that. So it was just one of those like I see you doing the thing that smoke does over here, then I look over here and you have the warping worm thing in the sky. I'm confused why you know you can't have the nice one over here on the pillar. It's just
It would I mean, and it
maybe it's
really comes down
performance, but it's
yeah, it
just
really would come down to just murder performance.
I would like for them to come out and say why they did that, but I mean that's just me,
Yeah. But
and maybe it
yeah,
does boil down to
I think it was
performance.
implemented well. I like it a lot. It's one of the things like new legendaries where like it's hard to have a conversation about it because I think the big part about it is the fire seems like it would be the most meaningful change.
Hmm.
But what I've discovered is most of the time it doesn't have a massive impact because people just avoid it and you don't actually end up fighting around it.
Right,
I fought around it a grand total of twice.
it's more than I have. I've run
Yeah.
through it plenty of times, but I haven't actually
Yeah.
fought in it yet.
And it makes me sad because the Infernal Pack, like we talked about, will restore your health bar when it's burned off instead of burning it off, which is a pretty cool mechanic.
Yeah,
But it doesn't really happen much because
no one plays
fire
around it.
isn't fire isn't that intrinsic to the game except for like orange juice and fire bombs and
Like burning.
yeah, and people just aren't fighting if you don't have Infernal, you're kind of avoiding the the pillars of flame and people aren't
Right.
taking Infernal because everybody else avoids the pillars of flame.
And I think a lot of people like, from what I've seen, a lot of people really like grounded for the sake of saving your hunter. I
Yeah,
mean, and I get that, but and
oh
Shadow
yeah,
actually, I love
we
Shadow.
we'll talk about those. I think that's is that our next topic? I believe that is.
Guns.
Oh yeah, let's yeah, let's talk new guns real fast and then we'll get
Okay.
into
I mean, we
packs.
kind of went
Um,
over guns a little bit
yeah,
before.
new guns. Centennial Trauma is neat. It's a melee variant. It's really nice at one-shot simulators. I think it one-shots hunters, correct?
I haven't tried that myself, but I would not be surprised.
Yeah, it's a cool variant. It's pretty effective. It's really nice to have a blunt damage variant, especially on the Centennial
It's a
to give it a
blunt
little bit
talon.
more. Yeah, to give and the Centennial's got another variant now besides just sniper to give it a little bit more reason to choose it, especially with that the fire rate increase from a while back.
I proved that last when we played last
Yeah,
after our last
it's
recording.
pretty sweet. Um,
It
and
was
I
nice.
think yeah, I think it went pretty well. I like the more blunt things. I really want a Romero sawn off blunt. I think that'd be really cool.
That would be
Like
cool.
just yeah, just use
And
the Oba's animation.
I also just love the aesthetic of a C clamp being used as why it's effectively blunt. You know,
Yeah.
that's just cool.
We also have the new bomb lance variants, Dragon's Breath and Steel
I have
Balls.
yet to see anyone use this, but then again, I haven't been playing that much. So,
Uh, Dragon's Breath is about what you'd expect from Dragon's Breath. It's
yep.
kind of a meme, and you now have a really long wait time with it. Cool.
Okay,
You
cool.
do have a bomb lance attached to it, which is neat, but it's kind of like one shot, and then the way I could see it being effective is you hit somebody with it, and then you pressure them with the bomb lance. So this way,
Right.
if they try and stop the burning, you charge them. If they
Don't
um
stop the burning, then they
don't
can't
stop the
see very
burning,
well.
then you're gonna burn off a bunch of their berries. And so like I feel like it's gonna be effective that way, but it's gonna be hard to set that situation up a lot of the time.
Right.
The steel balls, a silent shotgun. They're pretty effective. I think it's around the rival distance. Um, maybe a little bit better. It's not the Romero, I know that much. But
Okay.
again, 6-second reload. It's special ammo. You get 7 shots, I think.
I don't know. I don't have it
Um,
unlocked.
yeah, it's pretty. It seems pretty good. My issue with it more is, yeah, having a silent shotgun is good, but the bomb lance, oddly enough, isn't cheap, and so
There's
you're
a lot of
paying,
mechanics in that I could see someone being like, "Yeah, no, this is
yeah,
expensive." You know?
so you're paying $200 for a silenced shotgun with a 4 second reload.
Is it 4 seconds?
What's this? Yeah.
Oh, that's
Um.
hmm.
So it's damage. Damage is 240 on the steel balls, and it's got a. Oh, it says sighted range. It doesn't give you effective range on it. That's annoying. Because it says 25 meters, but it will not. It's not gonna kill somebody from 25 meters.
Oof.
Um, it might with the RNG. I don't know,
Maybe if they
but
have 25 bar hit points left.
maybe that'd be the thing of if the RNG gods favor you.
Right, yeah.
Uh, but I think it's neat. But for 210, it seems like I feel like I prefer to play the crossbow if I have the perk for it for 50
Mhm.
bucks and have the option of shot bolt or explosive or whatever, or play Romero for 60 or 70 bucks and have a little bit of extra range and a faster reload
Okay. Yeah.
with the option of slugs or penny shot or something else, right? Or dragon
Yeah.
smith. Like I feel like the versatility and or range and reload of the Romero is going to be better, especially considering the fact it's 3 times cheaper. Now, the bomb lance is still really good because you do not to underestimate the fact that you get a giant lance on the end of it, which can be very valuable. But I think it's still in a bit of a weird place, and I don't think they can lower the cost of the bomb lance unless they separate PC from console.
Well, they kind of are in a way, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, every update that the PC gets, the console gets.
Oh, I thought they were always one behind on the console. I have
Well,
console friends that
but
play,
but
so
but but they get it.
they
So
get
like
it. It's just later. Yeah.
yeah, so if you lower the bomb lance cost, it'll lower on the console. And people already complain about bomb lance on console.
Oh, okay. I see.
So like yeah, it might be a one patch behind, but then that patch happens. And
Right.
so like that's my point. Like I don't think you can I really think they need to separate console and PC. But because bomb lance is kind of a meme on PC and it's kind of meta on console from what I understand.
Okay.
And so like it's kind of like okay. So it
Yeah.
puts it in a weird place in PC, but I like it as a variant for the bomb lance, and I think it could open up some new stuff.
Yeah, I like that they
Uh,
did custom ammo for it.
yeah. And then we have the Lamat carbine, which is the Lamat turned into a carbine like the Nagant officer.
Wait, did you
So it's a three
skip over
slot.
Ironside?
We can do
Oh,
Iron next if you want.
no, sorry, I'm going down the unlock. I'm not sure what list you're
Oh
looking
yeah,
at. Sorry.
it's just the next one I thought.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
But you get 9 plus 18 with reserves and one shotgun shell and 5 in reserve. It deals 107 damage. Its rate of fire is 49. Versus what's the base one? Because it ups it a little bit. Versus okay, so the base Lamat is 97 and then 42, so it brings damage up by 10 and rate of fire up by 5. The effective range gets longer to do what is it? Effective range becomes 150, which is pretty rad. Like with compact ammo, let's be real, that's pretty much the range you're probably going to be hitting headshots with anyway.
Right.
Um, the reload speed is 19 seconds.
19
19
seconds.
seconds. Its muzzle velocity is 375, so faster than all the sidearms, but not quite reaching that 400 of the Winnie or Martini
Mm-hmm.
melee damage. Handling some up to 83, which is notably a little bit lower than the officer carbine. So
Interesting.
yeah, and the shotgun shell I think is, I believe it's similar to a Romeo sawn-off as opposed to a um as opposed to a Caldwell sawed-off. I could be wrong there though, because it does not tell in the thing, and patch notes can be a bit vague. So yeah, I think it's really neat.
How's it
It
feel?
to me, it's weird. It feels slower than it should.
Interesting.
Like it's not as slow as I feel like it is every time I play it. But I think that's because the similar gun is the officer carbine, which is a fast firing gun.
Right, right.
I've died to it quite a bit because I haven't. I think I play against it a little bit more aggressively than I should.
Oh,
Um, I think it's pretty effective. My big complaint, my criticism of it would be the same thing I level at the bow and the Vetterli, of it's a jack of all trades. It has an okay shotgun attachment. It's a decent primary,
okay.
but it doesn't do either one of those the best, and so it's hard to pair something with.
Do you
For yeah, do you go uppercut for range? But that seems a bit weird to not be using your rifle at range. Do you
right.
go silence pistol for a tool? And like I
The
guess, but like that
util.
bugs me because I'm probably playing Lamach Carbine a little
For
bit as
its
budgety because
for
it's 130,
right.
and so
I
like
was about to say for its price, what do you think of it?
for its price, I actually like it pretty well.
Okay.
Here's here's my complaint. Here's probably why I'm not going to play it a ton,
Okay.
because 130 is roughly in the range of budgetish, right? Like the
Okay.
base Winfield's 75, the Winnie Swift is 130, right? So it's $2 more than the Winnie Swift.
Okay.
So the
Hmm.
Winnie Swift I think definitely beats it if you have perks, right?
Fair. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, if you don't have perks, then you're gonna go to the Lamach Carbine, or you could go to the Officer Carbine for $20 more, $25 more, I guess. And at that point, you go up from a fire rate of 49 to 120. You only lose 3 points of damage. You lose 15 meters on effective range. Your handling goes up. Your muzzle velocity goes down by 15 meters. Your reload speed gets faster. And I'm like, I just feel like that's better most of the time, except you don't have the shotgun attachment,
Right.
which
I
I
almost
haven't
feel
played the shotgun
like
a ton, so I'm like, I think it comes down to how good that is. I know it's good if you use slugs, but I'm not gonna play it with slugs because then you're playing $300 and
right.
why
Yeah.
like at $300 I'm playing a Bertha or I'm playing a you know like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sniper or something.
anything else.
Yeah, it's not it carbine Lamat carbine with slugs isn't hitting me in a place where it's worth it at that price for me. Um, but here's the thing: if I'm playing it without perks, I'd prefer to probably play the Winfield. Yeah, it's probably slightly worse in some places, but it's got slightly more damage and rate of fire, 107 versus 110 and 49 versus 50, which isn't particularly relevant. But its handling goes up a bit, so it's a little bit steadier. Your reload speed goes up a little bit, especially with that first bullet. When he's reload that first bullet very quickly, whereas the Lamette has to like pop the cartridge. Your muzzle
Okay.
velocity's faster, and then for 2 perk points, you get Iron Repeater, and your fire rate goes up even more. And like at that point, I'm like, for $40 versus 130, like I feel like the Winnie C just beats.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the only way that they could probably make it any kind of on par or worth taking the Lamat carbine would be to lower the price, but
Yeah,
I don't like balancing with money like you, so
it's the thing of I don't think it's in a bad place. Um, I think its real competition is the Officer Carbine because it's they're all 128 to 155, so they're all within 25 bucks of each other. Ish. I think it's 27. So they're all in a very similar price range, and I feel like the Winnie wins out if you have perks, especially if you have Levering and Iron Repeater.
mhm.
Um, but then I feel like the Nagant Officer Carbine and the Mat Carbine fight for kind of the same niche, and I think it
Yeah,
comes down to preference. Do you want the shotgun shell and a
right,
couple extra shots, or do you want the fire faster rate?
right.
Sorry,
It,
faster fire rate.
I knew what you
And
meant. Yeah,
because it's that is the other thing I think I didn't mention. The Officer Carbine does only have 7 shots versus the Lamat's 9.
true.
So
That is true. And
the
it,
other
playstyle too, because if you get Dragon's Breath on it with the Lamat, then you can
oh, I didn't think about that.
set someone on
Yeah,
fire and then poke around the corner and try to
so
pop them.
yeah, you can also get FMJ on Carbine, whereas I don't
Yep.
believe you can get FMJ on the Nagant Carbine.
But that does increase the price by $50. So there's
Yeah, you can also get here's the other one. You can get Incendiary on your Lamat Carbine, but you can't get it on the Officer Carbine.
okay. Yeah.
And so I've got like right now I've got set enemy hunters on fire, and I'll probably do it with Winnie.
And that's actually a good combo for Dragon Breath for the sake of the cost, but also
Yeah,
if your Dragon's Breath doesn't happen to set them on fire, but you still hit them, maybe your instant ammo, if you hit them
let's see, let me
quick enough, could set them on fire.
let me check real fast the price of Lamat with let's deck out a Lamat Carbine and check the price.
Yeah, I'm
So
just sitting here at the Lamat weapons arsenal screen, so I
oh,
can
because
see all the
you don't
ammo.
have it yet, do you? Haha.
No.
So Lamat Carbine 130. You add on 50 for FMJ. Now, okay, 50 for FMJ. I feel like at that point, I don't. Do you feel like 200 is worth it for Lamat FMJ Carbine?
um,
I feel like no, because I feel like
well, the effective range does go up quite a bit,
yeah.
but
Well, actually, the muzzle velocity doesn't drop that much. It only goes to 345.
yeah,
Hmm.
and the effective
That actually
range.
might be. Is it what else is in the $200 range? Because that's the weird point. Like that's the point. Like $200 is always the point where I'm like, ooh, you had a Bornheim extended. I will say I would definitely prefer a Lamat Carbine with FMJ over Bornheim extended.
Well, you're just not a fan of the Bornheim, so that makes sense.
It's in a weird place. It's in a weird place. Oh, I forgot the rifle hand cannon. The rifle hand cannon is 125 now.
What was it
Jeez,
before?
75,
Oh,
50. Like that's a bit of a price increase.
that's a jump.
Yeah. Spectre Compact is 164. Winfield Terminus hand cannon. So I guess that's an important niche to point out. There's not really a equivalent to that unless you want to go Winnie Swift FMJ. So so it seems like the comparison to the Lamat Carabine is the Winnie. It's
Okay.
if you have no perks with it.
Right.
And then, oh, I apologize. I apologize. It's not 150 for the Lamette slugs. It's 65 because it's a Lamette.
Yep.
That brings Lamette. So for 200 with Lamette slugs, that actually might be. I feel like that's a pretty strong niche then, because then you're kind of fighting high velocity officer carbine, high velocity or FMJ Winnie Swifts.
Right.
And I feel like those are all fairly equivalent. I feel like the winner's still the Winnie, but yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like the Mets in a really good place. I think the big issue with it's the price of like we don't see many officer carbines because you play the officer carbine when you don't have perks, and a lot of times you don't want to spend 150 on a primary for somebody who doesn't have perks. Or if you do, you want typically people are gonna go like Sparks
Right.
because like that's the other one it's in that price range. But yeah, I feel like it's in a nice niche. I'm excited to see more people playing it because right now it's still in the point where like a lot of people haven't unlocked it.
Yeah, me.
It doesn't have a yeah, exactly. I'm talking about just Drake here.
Just me. I'm the
But
last
yeah,
one.
it hasn't been unlocked, so I haven't seen him play. I've only played it once and I died pretty quickly with it.
Once I unlock it, you and I should go in with it
Yeah,
together,
that's fine. So I
just to
think
see.
I think it's in a good place. I really like its edition. It's one where I've been hoping to see. I think it in a what we want to see. I think that was one of mine, one of yours that we mentioned
Wait, say
for
it
the Matt
again.
Carbine because we had like a wish list, right? A wish list episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
we did
I
have a wish
believe.
list episode. Well,
Yeah,
maybe it was me. I don't know. I don't
yeah.
remember.
I think it might have been me, but I don't remember enough. It's been a while.
It's
We
been way too
merged a
long.
wish list. Yeah. So here's the Matt Carbine. We also have the Martini Ironside.
Ah, yes, the iron
Uh,
side.
have you played it?
No, I haven't played anything past
Okay.
trauma.
I played it. I played it once.
All I have is trauma.
Man, it blocks a lot of
I had
your
a
screen.
feeling because I 3D viewed the Ironside a minute ago and
It
looked,
blocks a
and
lot of your screen.
yeah, I can imagine.
I don't
Scroll
think
in.
it's the worst thing, but it's the kind of thing of like if you know how they have a Martini Ironside and you're like a pro player who can think of this in the play, just run to their left and
Yeah,
like they're gonna be able to track you well.
yeah.
It I played with it. It was a frustrating experience to play with it the first time. Um, but I could definitely see the appeal of it and I'm excited to try some more. The big thing with it is it's 180, 160,
184.
184, and I'm like, I don't know if I prefer that over just normal
I
martini
I
price.
I won't lie to you. I want to try a meme loadout with the Ironside and explosive ammo.
All right, Psycho Ghost. He
Almost.
put out a video with
Oh,
that.
did he really?
But
Oh, never mind.
yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. Okay, well.
No, of course it's not.
Well,
Explosive
maybe
ammo has
I'll
been
also go
nerfed to
uppercut
heck.
explosive and
Yeah, he did that with fanning, uppercut, explosive. It was a wild ride. I mean, he got some kills with it. It's just
well, yeah, it's Psycho Ghost.
well, yeah, it's just the thing of like, there's a lot of points where it would like watching you just like, man, if that was just a normal martini, that man's dead.
Right. Oh, okay. Fair.
But I think the allowance of follow up shots is really good, but weirdly enough, it feels like another multi-shot long ammo rifle. It feels like the budget multi-shot long ammo rifle.
I mean, I'm all right with
Of
that.
yeah, really big downside with the line of sight and fairly low fire rate that you can't really improve in any way.
Okay.
Um, but it does have multiple shots. It deals a lot of damage.
What's the name of the
I'm in on it. I want to play it
iron
some more before I
sharpshooter?
do.
Does that work
Yeah.
with it?
Nope.
No, it does not.
Don't believe so. I would double check.
Please do. I'm very curious. I can't check because I don't have it.
I just said it. I just said it very confidently, and I want to double check before I'm
Yeah.
an idiot. Yeah, no, it doesn't work with it.
Okay.
Yep.
See, if
Okay.
it worked with that, I feel like that would actually be worth.
Uh, yeah.
But it's
It
not
would
bolt
actually.
action, so
Yeah, it would actually work with iron. It would be iron repeater though, not sharpshooter.
can you try it with like iron repeater? See if it
I mean, I'll double. I just checked a minute ago.
Oh, I thought you
We
did
were
sharpshooter.
just talking about it. Yeah,
Oh, when
I
you
no, I checked. Yeah, I checked this way earlier.
earlier. Got it, got it, got
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't
Sorry.
work with the delay.
My bad.
But it's I like it. Question, Rick.
I haven't played with
I
it, so I
want.
can't really say.
Yeah, I wanna play with it a bit before it. The blocking of this, like, look, the spikes blocks a lot of your screen, right, with that hammer.
Yeah.
The iron side blocks a lot of your screen.
Okay, I have a feeling. I had a feeling it was gonna be worse.
Yeah, it is. It's much worse than the spikes hammer. The big thing with it is when I played it, I hadn't learned the tempo of it yet. You know how like
Okay.
all the guns in the game kind of have like a tempo of like,
You learn how quickly they can shoot.
yeah, and so like when to peek and when to e-peek,
Yeah.
and I kept trying to play it like a normal martini, and you
Oh,
don't play it like a normal martini. So
gotcha. I'm eager to try it.
yeah, I'm excited to play it some more, but it it was in the weird thing where it took me a while to unlock it too, so that put me at a
Oh,
weird place.
I don't really think
So
about it. I just when I see that I unlock it, then I'll try it. Just
yeah,
don't think about it otherwise.
I think it's a neat addition. I'll have to play with it more, and we'll have to revisit it. Um, the next one we have is the Crag. Now the Crag is a weird gun.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
3D view this.
so I feel like the comparison to make is most people are going to compare it to the most, right?
I can kind of see that in the looks. Yeah.
Well, because they both have multiple shots. They're both long ammo rifles. Because it's 5 shots versus 6 shots. I feel like it loses out against the Mosin pretty hard, honestly.
You think so?
Because yeah, you lose 12 points of damage. You lose 100 of meters of effective range.
100? Jeez.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
The iron sights don't look too
Um,
bad from what I can tell.
your rate of fire goes up a little bit. Your handling goes up a little bit. Wait, what's that? Yeah, your handling goes up a little bit. Your reload speed drops because of stripper clips, and your muzzle velocity goes down in 5 meters per second. Who the frick cares? But I feel like the Mosin's damage is the big thing because 124 doesn't let you one-shot hunters who have lost 25.
Interesting.
It puts them to 1, which I feel like is a very relevant thing. And so the other gun that is very similar to is the Berthier because it's the other fast fire one.
Right.
So it's kind of like, do you compare it to the Mosin because of multiple, like the 5 shots? Do you compare it to the Berthier because of fast fire rate? And I feel like the fairer comparison is the Berthier,
Okay.
because they're both the fast fire rate ones. The Krag is actually a faster firing gun than the Berthier. It fires at 43 versus 36.
Yep.
Um, its muzzle velocity is slightly faster. Its handling slightly better.
Effective range a
And
little bit lower,
so
but not
it's
by much.
yeah. So it's the thing of I feel like the Krag wins out. In the sense of in the initial part of the firefight, right? That faster fire rate's gonna win out. And I feel like if I'm at the start of a firefight, I want the Krag.
Okay.
The side is also really nice because the Krag has that faster fire rate. You can 1-2 tap a little bit easier. You can then reload your bullets without having to worry about bullet grabber.
I wondered about
But
that.
that 124 damage is just
That's
you have to hope for one of the big strengths of long ammo. I think is being able to down somebody who's just lost 25 after they've been downed, and it can't do that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the big thing that keeps it from just being, oh god, the insane new long ammo rifle.
Right. I mean, it's
The other thing with it to
what's
mention
the cost of it? Oh, it's
is, yeah,
expensive.
that's what I'm going to though. It's actually comparison. It's really not. The Berthier is 356, and it's the cheap long ammo rifle that I actually play a little bit because of budget. Springfield Crag is
It's
only
a
20 bucks more.
yeah.
It's like when you put it that way, it's like, oh, that isn't that much of a difference. Whereas if you want to go to a
That's just the way you
Labelle,
think about it, I guess.
yeah, the Labelle you're going up $40, and for the Mosin you're going up 50, right? Yeah, Mosin you're going up 40. It's 490.
I feel like the Crag should actually be
Oh, sorry, not 4.
cheaper.
You're going up. Sorry, for the Mosin you're going up 140.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a lot.
I do not think the Crag should be cheaper.
I
No.
think it should be more on par with Berthie on price because of that damage issue.
I think here's the thing. Yeah, the damage issue is relevant, but that's only really relevant at really long range, which isn't the Crag or the Berthie's strong
Fair.
suit,
And the muzzle velocity is pretty
or
high,
if they've already
actually.
been dropped. And I feel now while that's really relevant, and like that's something I really like, I don't think it's enough to. I think it is better than the Bertha
Okay.
because of the faster fire rate. I think most of the time that faster fire rate is going to be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
For reference, it's 43. The Vetterli is 42.
Okay.
It fires
Pretty quick.
it fires faster than the Vetterli,
Fair.
which is kind of bonkers. Like
For long
let's
ammo.
be frank, the long ammo rifle fires faster than the
I'd rather be
than the
Drake.
medium ammo one, and it only loses 6 points of damage from the Vetterli. Now
Trying to like.
the 6 points keeps it from doing the one tap to the body dead.
Right.
But
Yeah.
keep in mind, Vetterli also states the damage drop off at 20 meters. So at 30 meters, they're both gonna fail, right? So
Yeah.
it's like the Vetterli only gains that in if you're really close to them, which again is relevant. But yeah, I feel like it's really good, and 376.
Hmm.
It's really weird to me that they made it 76, not 75. Like, how did they come up with the random numbers?
I'm
But
sure there's an intricate calculation that they use.
yeah,
It's probably an AI
um,
generated number.
they just do it random.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Crag's really good, and I think the site is like I think it's fighting with the Bertha for my favorite long ammo site.
From what I can see of the site, because obviously I haven't used it, and
Hmm.
I'm having to use the 3D view and line it up, it looks pretty good.
It prevents the weird thing with the Mosin. With the Mosin so thin, sometimes I misjudge it.
Right.
Um, and so I really like that. It's got a little bit of the Bertha thing where it's sometimes just a little bit chunkier than you want, but yeah, I
Yeah,
I like
Bertha.
it. I like it a lot. Well, like the other one I like a lot is the Martini, but the Martini is not because I think it's a good site. It's just because I play a lot of Martini.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like I'm just used to the site. But yeah, the thing with the Krag is just that it fires faster than a medium ammo rifle. Like
That's kind of
what
absurd.
the crap? Yeah, it's got slightly less damage, but I'm like for that initial thing, like boy howdy. And it carries 12 shots. So I guess that's the other thing to mention. It carries
Yeah,
12 shots
it does.
versus the Bertha's 15, right?
15? Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah. So it does reload a lot harder because it's a little bit harder to get ammo
Okay.
because you're resupplying less.
Right.
It's a little bit like the Labelle in I kind of want to play it with a Sparks pistol to offset that money cost. No, not the money cost, the resupply cost.
Hmm.
But I'm like, if you're in the initial parts of the compound fight, I feel like the Krag might be the best gun in the game.
I'm actually very eager to play with the Crag. It
Yeah.
I mean, you know me, I'm an aesthetic guy, so like, I liked
Hmm.
the thing I liked about the Berthie when it came out was just the sound of its reload because it sounded like the M1
Oh,
Garand.
so nice. It gives me such high M1 Grand vibes, and
Yeah.
Hunter keeps getting upset with me because he's like, it's not like the Grand. I'm like, no, I know it's not like the Grand,
But the
but it feels
sounds.
like the Grand.
Yeah. And
It feels like a video game Grand. Like it takes me back to playing
yeah.
Medal of Honor with the M1 Garand. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. Like, I realize, yes, it's not an automatic rifle, blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's fine. I know, but that reload clip sound is just
Hmm.
beautiful. That is the same vibe I get with the Krag, but this is with the gunshots, not the reload.
Ah, you really like the
The
firing sound of it.
gunshot just sounds so, I don't know. It just gives me the same happy feelings as a reloading M1 Garand.
That's me with the Centennial. I really like the Centennial's firing sound.
I
It's
like
just
it.
very
It just
satisfying.
sounds blunt, but I like it though. It sounds like I'm hitting
Yeah.
someone by throwing a club at someone really
The other
fast.
Craig to mention is it doesn't require a bullet grubber.
I like that. I was kind of worried that it would, but I don't know why it would looking at it in 3D. It's just a
But yeah,
bolt action.
I feel like when you roll up to a compound and you're like in that initial fight, it's and you see like another team on the other side, it's probably the best gun in the game to try and get that two tap shot and like have because the fast muzzle velocity makes it easy to land shots.
Oh yeah.
The sight's really nice. The fire rate's really good.
Actually, it's muzzle velocity
The
is gonna be what messes me up.
Yeah, it's penetration's long ammo pin, so it's like, ooh.
Right.
But then I think the longer it goes, the less value it loses. The more value it loses in comparison to other long ammo ones.
Fair.
But it's whether or not. But it's like the Dolch, right? The Dolch is hard to reload because of its special,
Right.
but that the Dolch is still really good
Yeah.
because it can just blah, 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 and just spit out bullets. And so I think the Krag's really good. Um, I talked about dying to the Lamat a little bit because I didn't play. I pushed it a little bit too aggressively. The Krag is the one that I've died to a couple times and just gone, really? Okay.
Yeah, how do I combat this? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I would not be surprised if it receives some sort of nerf.
Oh, okay. So play it while you can.
It's just I
What's
think its fire rate should be a little bit slower,
okay.
especially
Yeah.
because of Iron Repeater. Not Iron
If they
Repeater,
could
Iron
give it
Shifter.
one extra point of damage and then lower the rate of fire, I'd be fine with it.
Hmm. That point of as weird as it is, that point of damage is dangerous though.
I mean, yeah, but you're also lowering the amount of fire,
You might just move
rate
it
of
in. You
fire.
might just move it into the Bertha's point though. Then and I don't know about that.
True. If that's the case, lower the price a tiny bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that'd be
I
fine.
feel like you can't have one change without making a second change when it comes to
I
the
think
Krag.
yeah, I think lower the
If one,
price by couple bucks and then just lower the fire rate by a couple ticks and I think it'd be fine.
okay,
But
yeah, it's like if one
it's just,
slider on this gun moves, the another slider is gonna move too. It's got to.
oddly enough, it feels kind of like the Vetterly 2.0.
Kinda like a long ammo Vetterli.
Yeah, you lose one shot versus the Vetterly 7. You lose a couple points of damage, but you gain all the benefits of long ammo damage and damage
Mm,
reduction and penetration, and your fire rate is actually better. Your reload's pretty similar. Your muzzle, like the big thing you're losing is variance at that point,
right.
and I feel like long ammo is better. Now, the thing to remember there is the Vetterli is $105.
Right.
The
Yeah.
Krag is $375. So it's very much balanced by price, however you feel about that.
Right.
But it does kind of bug me that like the medium ammo niche has kind of been destroyed.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, price helps, but yeah,
yeah.
I
I
feel
really
it.
think medium ammo needs to have that slight boost where damage drop off starts at 30 meters instead of at 20 like compact ammo.
I
Because
actually
then
didn't realize that
then
was the case. It's been a
yeah,
minute.
starts with compact. Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Um, and I feel like it should be in between. If it's medium ammo, it should be in between compact and long, and it's not. And now we have a gun that fires faster than it. It's like, yeah, it's still balanced a little bit because of price, but in the game, that's gonna still feels bad moments because you're like, oh, now my medium ammo rifle is faster than their long.
Right.
Yay! And then again, this game has the thing of players who are good at the game have the money to pay it.
Right.
Players who aren't good at the game don't.
Suffering.
Yeah.
I don't
All
want
right.
I don't want to push this along, but I'm going to push
No,
this along
I was in
because
the same boat.
we're
Yeah.
going very long on this.
Is that's all the weapons, right?
That's all. I believe that's all the weapons. Yep.
All right. Packs, baby. We have 3
And
packs.
not the gun.
Yeah, packed. Um, we have the Wildfire Pact, which is we're not going to go over all the legendary hunters. I kind of went over that.
Yeah.
The Wildfire Pact is well, actually, before we do that, let's explain how the pacts work.
Okay.
So basically, when you play the game and as you're gathering points, eventually you can get a pact merc or pledge merc after completing one of 3 things. After you do get either 35 event points in a match, or you loot an enemy hunter, or you banish a boss, then you will receive 1 pledge merc. Now, once you have 1 pledge merc, you can go and exchange it at a resupply to pledge yourself to a pact. Now, if you're one of the legendary hunters, that some of them are locked into certain packs because of their like loyalty or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you can't, if you're playing the researcher, you have to pledge yourself to grounded. If you're playing the private eye, you have to pledge yourself to infernal.
Right.
And you basically go up to the MacGuffin, just like in the snake event. You interact, you drop the thing in there, and you will get a trait dependent on your pact. The first trait you'll get will be I want to say a smaller impact, but
Some of them are kind of
yeah,
crazy, but
let's go smaller impact 'cause that's the intention.
okay.
And then if you get to 4 pledge mercs, you can go back and you can get a second trait by deepening your pledge, and that one will typically be a bit better.
Right.
In addition, depending on what pact you are, each pact has 1 trait that receives an additional benefit to it.
A passive benefit.
Yeah, so like your trait will, like a normal trait that's already in the game will do something.
So Solve Skin, for example.
So like Salve Skin, you regenerate your burnt stuff a lot faster, right? So like if you got burned, who cares? You're just healing it up immediately. The other thing to mention is you can only get 3 pledge mercs per match. You can't get all the way to 4 right away. So if you want to get that full passive, then you have to do a second match. So let's say I banish a boss, kill a hunter, get my 35. I have 3 pledge mercs. I don't have my 4.
Right.
Cool. Now, each of the packs gives you different benefits. Infernal, we've kind of already covered. Infernal has its first trait that you get from pledging a pledge merc at a resupply. You get is, hey, if you get a bear burned off, instead of actually being burned off, it will consume one of your pledge mercs. It'll go away, and then you will actually restore that burned bear. So if you have a 50 bear, it burns all the way off. One of your pledge mercs goes bye-bye. You get that 50 hit points back.
Right.
And that keeps going until you're out of pledge mercs, so you stop the burning. Its passive is on Salve Skin, where you recover your charcoal effect a lot faster. And then its 4 pledge mercs is you won't be on fire if you're downed, I believe.
You can't catch on fire even when you're downed, but your health chunks still burn at a slower rate while in flames.
Yep. So you just can't catch fire. So if somebody tags you 4 times with fire incendiary, doesn't matter.
Yep.
This is the weakest pact, I think.
I feel like it's a situational pact. I think it's incredibly strong if you're in the right scenario.
Yeah, I think so too, but it's the thing of most of the time when I'm like
but it's
decking
funny
out a hunter,
because
I'm not like, I'm decking my hunter out for when I'm fighting in the wildfire and pushing somebody who's been
and that's the
flashed
thing
in the
is
flames.
I think people are avoiding the wildfires because they don't want to deal with people with the Infernal Pact, so people aren't taking the Infernal Pact because no one's going to the wildfires.
Yeah, and
So
like
it's
I don't think
just
people,
why take
I
it?
think people wanted to avoid the wildfires a little bit anyway to start with, just because of, like the noise and stuff, and
Right, right.
you have to weave through the flames, and it leaves yourself open to ambush. But then with the infernal pack, you're like, oh boy, I'm definitely gonna avoid it now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then on top of that, if you burn a bow, yeah, you get your bow back, but now you lost a pledge mark, which makes it even harder to get to the fourth pledge mark of you can't
Right.
catch on fire, which is what you really want
While you're
from
down,
that
yeah.
pack. Yeah, well, you can't do it when you're alive either way. So then if you're in
Right.
the fire, you're recovering your charcoal quickly, so you can just run through the flames, not catch fire, recover your charcoal, which is pretty freaking cool. But how often does it happen?
Yeah.
So it's difficult to build them up, and it's very situational. I feel like that's the big issue with the pact. Though if you do notice, this is the one that most impacts like the way you play, right? The
Uh
Because like you no longer have to worry about fire. Like you could potentially
oh,
like throw
yeah, yeah,
fire
yeah.
bombs and then just charge
Just
in
run
through them.
through it, yeah.
Yeah. So like it could open up some things, but like I feel like it's not strong enough to actually warrant taking
Maybe
as
we
a
should
station.
try it sometime, like grind out to get the 4 pledge marks with it and then try to
Yeah,
play
I'm down.
aggressively with firebombs one day. See what
Yeah,
happens.
we'll do something like that.
See if we can surprise some people.
Yeah, I think it's neat. I think it's pretty bad though.
Oh,
That's my
we
issue
have
with that.
45 days from now to test it. So,
Yeah, it feels slow to grind up. It feels less impactful than the other one.
right.
The next one is we're gonna talk grounded. I think next.
Okay.
Grounded is I think the fan favorite. I think it's safe to say.
I think so too.
The reason being, it has two big impacts. The first one being when you pledge your first pledge mark. Again, you can get your first pledge mark just from getting points. When you pledge it and you have that trait, you also don't lose the traits if you die. Because like for the infernal one, if you're like downed and you keep your pledge marks, then if you leave, so like you won't lose your pledge marks from being eluded like you would during Snake Moon, um, which is good. But Grounded says, hey, if you die, like die, not get downed.
Right.
If you
You're out of the
fail to
match.
extract, you don't lose your hunter.
But that's
Now,
all.
yeah, you can do that for one trait. It takes up one trait. It's called Death Cheat. You can use one trait that you can earn by the points. So you get 35 points. You go to a resupply. You buy Death Cheat. Your hunter can't die now. Now
Right.
it does consume your pledge mark. So if you die, then the next match
Without getting a mark.
you have to get up another pledge mark. So you have to get those 35 points.
Right.
Now you don't have to go
You can
back
still lose
to the
that
resupply.
hunter.
Yeah, you don't have to go back to the resupply though,
Right.
because you
Because
still
you already
have the
have the
trait.
trait. Yeah.
But the trait's not online until you get that pledge mark back.
Right.
Whew, boy howdy, that's good. The
That's really
fourth
good.
one is if you get full pledge marks, and you can't pledge for the fourth, like because it's called Shadow. You can't pledge for Shadow until you have all the pledge marks. You have to get all full.
Right.
But once you pledge it, AI can't see you. They can only hear you.
It is
Meaning,
one of the most fun things to just run through a compound and alert everything and just keep going because they don't chase you. They don't try to
yeah, because
stop you.
like the other day I was trying to kite some. I had it and I forgot I had it, and I was trying to kite some dogs into fire to get my challenge, and I couldn't do it
Oh yeah, that's right.
because they wouldn't chase me.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't see me, they could only hear me. And anytime they heard me, they'd howl before chasing me. So then when I moved, they would lose where I was.
Right.
And so like it's really wild, like fighting somebody and having like some dogs around you and just be like,
Yeah, they don't care.
this is fine.
Because even if you're actively making noise around them, like right next to them, they won't bite in your direction.
Yeah, and
because they don't see you.
will. If you're like running back and forth right by grunt, it'll slap you. But like,
I have not had that happen. I've done that.
yeah, it's you. If you're paying attention like at all, you're fine. I think immolators will slap you. I think they're the scary ones still, right?
No, they don't.
Oh, they don't.
I mean, if you get too close to a armored, a Barbie, that you'll still get hurt.
Yeah.
If you're standing on top of a hive when she lets her bees out, you'll still get poisoned. But they will not.
Hive bombs don't work against you.
Correct.
The
Yeah,
hives
the
work off
bees
line
will
of
not
sight.
chase you because they can't see you. It's honestly a
It's
really good perk.
it's pretty solid protection against it. The annoying thing then is if you get death cheat and then you die, you're like, God dang it, I gotta grind that up again.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's very good. And then I think the one that has led to the most wild gameplay change for me is its passive perk is if you have Necromancer, then after 4 seconds when you die as a solo, only as a solo,
Only as a
you
solo.
can self revive. It doesn't take a pledge make. It doesn't it does it yeah, you just
I mean, you still
pop back up.
lose.
Hello.
You still don't
Yeah,
have
you
the
still lose your
bar,
stuff from
so
being
you can,
down,
you know.
but it's led to some entertaining matches with me.
I have
Um,
yet to use it. 'Cause I don't do solo, but
it's freaking wild. I had one match last night where the guy headshot me, and I was on a roof, and I was far enough away, I just revived,
right.
and I killed the boss. I got my berry back. I fought the guys for like 10 minutes. I downed one of them. They downed me. I popped back up. And then they chased. They ran to extract. I headshot one of them, and the other guy had burned out because he was out in a
Uh,
field, and like the dude didn't push me for 10 minutes in the boss lair, and he didn't go revive his teammate. So I went over and I burned him. So I knew one of them was at 50. So I killed the guy who was at full health, and then I pushed up because I knew the guy was at 50, and I'm just like I just have to tag him with any gun.
right.
And he double tagged me first with a Winnie. I popped back up, and then I just binked and I killed him. And
I
like it
love
was
it,
yeah, and
and
so
I
like
hate
it's led
it.
to some oh yeah. And I now before you guys go, oh Baldy's toxic. I have gotten killed by I played one match where I killed somebody, um, and I didn't realize they necroed themselves because there's multiple teams. He killed me, I necroed myself. I killed him, burnt the body, thought I was fine, went back, realized the body was gone, and that he had necroed himself, and then they shotgunned me through the floor. So like it leads to some freaking weird situations, and it leads to a lot of barbed wire. If you are a solo during this event, do not expect it to work every time because people will burn you immediately and then watch you. People will throw concertina
Yeah.
bombs that'll kill you if you don't have resilience. They'll throw poison bombs on you. They will concertina you, like you gotta
Do
be real
everything to
careful
keep
with
you
it.
dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a lot of times you revive and then somebody will just see you because you just stood up. And
tap
sometimes
you.
it can be hard to listen to what's going on. So I have revived myself once while I was being looted, and that was surprising for both of us involved. I lost because he wasn't getting up from a revive. But yeah, it's a wild thing. But that makes grounded a lot of fun because also if you have that, then you pledge the grounded. So
Yeah.
assuming you have a pledge mark and you've bought it and you can revive. If you die, you go back to the menu. You keep your hunter. Now, you do not keep your hunter's crap.
Right. All of your gear
So
goes bye
all
bye.
of your gear's gone. So I think the fun thing about it is if you get, I think the way to play it is you get Iron Repeater and play Vetterly, or you get Iron Sharpshooting, play Vetterly, you get Iron Repeater and play Winnie, you get Bolt Thrower and you play Crossbow. You
So
play
it's
some
something
gun
cheap.
that's something cheap, and then you can that like play a loadout that the downside of it is that it is trait intensive,
Right.
not the price. Because like Mosin's good, and you don't play it all the time because it's expensive. I really like Nagant Deadeye, like the base Nagant little precision Deadeye dude, right? I don't play it a
Hate
lot
that
because
gun.
you need. Oh, I love it. It's
I
just
hate
great.
it.
I don't play it a lot, not because it's expensive. Like if you put high velocity on that sucker, I think it's $100.
Still,
But it
I
takes it
still
takes
like
two
Deadeye.
trait points now, and it's like a lot of times I'm like, okay, if I can spend two trait points, and assuming I have two trait points, I just won a match. I'm probably gonna play, Mosin or whatever. I'm
Right.
gonna probably play something a little bit more fun. But this is like I want to play Deadeye Scopes for the rest of the night. So you buy Deadeye Scopesmith and you play Deadeye Scopes for the rest of the night, and it's great fun. Grounded is easily my favorite pact. It's the one I'm always choosing. I like it a lot.
It's the one I was drawn to immediately, and I've
Yeah,
played it the most. I have attempted Infernal and Lunar, but never got far enough to really play with it too much. So
yeah. The other thing with it is it's the only perk I mentioned this earlier. if you're grounded, that is the only reason I won't be annoyed with you for taking S1E, because it'll actually give you perks, and like you have
Right,
more perk points to spend. Now,
right.
before you go, oh my god, this is completely busted, George. You do still have to buy back your berries. So sometimes you have like a level 30 hunter, and if you haven't been doing well, you sometimes have a level 30 hunter who has like Necro and Pack Mule,
Right.
and that's it, because you're like buying back berries or whatever. Now that's obviously exaggerated, but
There's the flip side of that too, where when you're level 50 with a
Mhm,
with a hunter and you go in and you die, but you survived because or
mhm.
you kept the hunter because of death cheat, you
If you don't
don't
have, yeah, if
gain
you don't have anything, yeah.
points from extracting with stuff. So even if you live and you get out,
Mhm.
you don't gain anything. You have to actually
So like
find
if
the
you,
posters that give you
yeah, if you die with
coins.
a 50, if you die with a 50
Yeah,
and you don't have any perk points, your options are live with not having full health,
yeah,
find an envelope, or banish a boss.
yeah. Find an
Those are your
envelope and
options.
extract so you can buy your bar back.
Yeah. So there are downsides to it, but it's the one I think it removes the most. I really like it because it removes a lot of the feels bad. Hunt's
Yeah,
got this weird thing where like when you first start it, you really like you really hate the permadeath because you're like, oh, I got attached to the hunter, gear fear, all that,
right,
right?
right.
And then you reach this point where you're like, you realize the truth that like the
None
permadeath
of
is
that
what
matters.
keeps, yeah, and the permadeath is what keeps the game fresh, forcing you to play a lot of things. And then you reach the point where like you like me, where I'm like, God, yeah, I know permadeath is what keeps the game fresh, but sometimes I just want to play Winnie Marksman for a couple matches, and it's really annoying because you have to get the trait for it. Because otherwise, Winnie Marksman's not very good because you have to exit iron the sites every time.
Right.
And so it helps offset that annoyance a lot, and I really hope it sticks around in some regard afterwards.
I see that being difficult outside of the
Yeah, but the
event,
problem is
but I
it's
do
tied
hope
to
so
the
too.
event. Yeah. Um, I think it's my favorite. I think it's the popular one. I don't think it's the best.
All right, well let's move on.
The best one, I think, is Lunar. Now, Lunar is, oh, each one of these do have flavor with them. Infernal is the Mr. Cherry one of like you packed with the demon. He gives you gubbins, which is weird because it's kind of like the crap one. Um, Grounded is the flavor of it is like all the hunters who are just like I just want to vibe and do my own thing.
The edge lords.
Yeah, like not even like edge rollers. They're just like I just like yeah I might fight Cherry some, but like I just kind of want to like chill in the bayou. Luna is the dude's following Kevin. Um,
Oh,
it's like
okay.
the yeah we wanna stop Cherry. They're kind of the good men. Um,
Gotcha.
like the Hunters Association has become crazy. Stop them. And so what they get is at one pledge make you can pledge it, and you can get a trait that says, "Hey, the first when you're downed, you don't lose a health chunk. Instead, you lose all of your pledge mix."
Right.
Which I think is the issue with Lunar because it's not one
That
pledge mech,
is the
it's
issue with
all of
Lunar.
them. Now
I
Lunar might be too good otherwise is the issue. Um, but like you can go down and then be popped right back up at 150. In
right.
addition to that, you can also get resilience, and resilience doing this if you're pledged to Lunar doesn't give you a hundred back; it gives you 150.
Full
Meaning
health.
that first time you go down, your buddy necros you, you're full health,
Yep.
like full health, which is really relevant in a
That
firefight.
is very good. Yeah.
And then it's if you get full pledge mechs, then you can you
Your
can
health
constantly,
regenerates
yeah,
continuously.
constantly. And I believe it's normal regeneration, not regeneration shot.
Okay. Now, but I have a question about that. Does the
Hmm.
region if you have that perk and it's active
Vigor.
and then you pop a regen shot, does it
It probably
stack?
it probably it probably have it.
What do you mean have it?
It because the downside of regeneration shot is it makes your health regeneration slower.
Oh, all right. No, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
so the trait doesn't make it slower, which is why it's better
Okay,
than
so
regen shot.
basically, Indomitable replaces the need as long as you have the marks.
Yeah.
It replaces
The
the
other
need for
thing
the
is, if
shot.
you have vigor, and if it isn't halved, because I actually haven't managed to get to full points, because it makes it really difficult. Because anytime you're down, you burn them all.
Right.
But if you get to those 4, if you have vigor, you go into dark side, your head just goes.
Yeah, and full health.
Yeah. Um, it's really, really good. It does indicate to your opponents because anytime you're downed, then you can send off like little sparkles to your body, and that's like the indicator of, hey, I just consumed my pledge max, but I kept my health. Um,
Okay.
it's the same thing happens now. It's the same effect if you're looking at a body and you see little sparkles come off it. That's the hunters leaving the match.
Now, is that all bodies do that, or is that if you're
Yeah,
cheating death?
yeah. Oh, it might
Okay.
be if you're cheating death,
Because
but
I thought it was people cheating death made that noise, but I could be wrong.
it maybe it is just cheating death. But I know if people leave, then they will make that because a lot of times you kill like a duo,
I
and
was
then
like,
you'll
how'd
see
that go?
those spokes go boop boop from each of the bodies. And you're like, ah, bye.
Right.
I thought it was for everybody, but it might just be for death cheaters. I'm not sure.
We would have to test it.
Yeah. But yeah, like not losing a health bar in a firefight. Remember how we were talking about the crag and
Yeah.
how not being able to
Oh yeah.
one tap a hunter who's dead is a big downside to it? Yeah, it turns the Mosin into that. It turns the spokes into that. Like imagine you're watching a body for revive. They get necroed and you go, ah yes, my Sparks rifle. They've been down. Blat. And they go, yeah, I don't care. And then they just run to cover. You're
Yeah.
like, what?
Yep.
What? Because that's happened to me once or twice, and like it is. So I think the Lunar is the best because it provides a consistently useful PvP benefit. Now, it's also the hardest to get to full perk points because
Yes. Which
it's the
maybe that's
easiest to lose them.
why
Yeah,
this is so good.
which the health regeneration is so good, but it's so hard to get to because like you're at 3, you get downed. Oh, that's going to be another match you have to play before you can get to full.
Right.
Um, So let's say you just got to full, you get down, you loot one of the hunters, you get one back. Then the next match you have to go kill a boss. You have to banish a boss, kill an enemy hunter, and get 35 points, all before dying to activate regeneration,
Right.
which can
If
be
you're good, then maybe that's a
frustrating.
great perk. I don't know.
The thing, if you're good,
But
too, you're playing
then
against people of similar
I was
levels.
gonna
Yeah,
say, if you're good though,
yeah.
then you don't need that. You know, I'd rather
I
take
mean, just
cheat
because you
death and
don't need doesn't
shadow.
mean it doesn't help. Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, I
so it's
know.
the thing of I think Death Cheat is the. I think Ground is the best in the sense of I have the most fun with it. It's definitely the best for solos because self revive.
Yeah, the self revive.
Yeah. Um, but I think if you're playing duos, I think the best one competitively is Lunar, with the exception of depending on how much you value your traits. Because it's the thing of maybe with Death Cheat you might be able to, like, you get one good match in and then you buy Dr. Pacneo Necro. Hey guys, those are the S tier perks, fight me. And then, you get like Iron Repeater the next match or whatever, and like now you have a hunter who has great healing, can revive people, restocks really easily, and can use a cheap weapon with a buff, and you can just keep using that hunter.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the see, but like we're comparing those two, and then you go, yeah, if you're playing Infernal, sometimes you won't burn a bow. Neat.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like Infernal is probably the best when you have the map on fire. But
Yes.
that's if people are fighting around it. So again, it's good situationally.
Yeah.
I could see it being fun to have that while pushing into a compound, like a building in a compound,
It's
with orange juice,
yeah.
freak people out, throw a couple of fire bombs, and then run through it and surprise people.
It's Infernal is my favorite flavor wise and in theory, but the one that like I don't have any intention of taking, unless I'm trying to meme with somebody or whatever.
Right.
Grounded's my favorite because I like not losing my hunter and just being able to play the
Yeah.
same thing. And I like being able to play, just go, I want to play Winnie Maxman tonight. It's really nice. And it's also like, I want to buy Signee, and then just keep that trait for a little bit to get points faster.
Yeah, that was my thing. With S1E with grounded is perfect because you can keep it
Yeah.
longer to actually utilize it.
Now it is still a big downside because, like, again, 6 points is like
I mean, sure,
I almost said pack mill resilience, but like that's not true anymore.
not
That's
anymore. Yeah,
that's like what is that? Quartermaster, pack mule, and some small trait. Like it's 6 points is a relevant amount to give up,
yeah.
but it's typically offset by keeping your hunter. And
Typically,
so,
if you
yeah, I
if you know what you're doing.
grounded's the most fun to me. It's just I like keeping my hunter. I like being able to play the same thing for a little bit.
Yeah,
It's nice. It's also a good way to get the feel for a gun. If you're like, I don't play Centennial much because I don't like playing it without Iron Repeater. Okay, buy Iron Repeater, play Centennial for a couple of matches. Cool.
yeah.
So I think it's neat that way.
I think that kind of wraps it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the event overall?
Overall, so far, I like it. I actually haven't been playing a whole lot of it because I got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Compared to the last podcast that we have out right now, episode 10, I think, where I said that I was playing a bunch and this was my mainstay and everything. That's changed as of right now.
We played
But
that one match. And you
yeah,
saw my beetle kill, and now you're like, I can never top it.
yeah, exactly. Actually, never mind the clutch that I had as well the next match. But
We don't talk about that.
we don't talk about that.
Only beetle.
This is about me, Drake, not you.
This isn't about you doing legitimately impressive things. This is about me memeing on people with bugs.
I mean, hey, but that was still impressive, though. I think.
I think it was more that the person was not expecting me to.
Yeah,
point
it was
respect
funny.
to
It
them.
was a classic meme.
Yeah. But yeah.
But I like it.
Question: is this your favorite event?
I think so far. I like that they added mechanic differences, and there's more than just legendaries coming out with it.
Okay. I think I agree. The other one that I think would fight for it is I liked the gameplay changes in with the one with the bow, light the
Light the
shadows.
Shadow.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
liked that
that one's still up there. It's still at least second, if not on par with this one.
Yeah. But I'm like, just put it, if there's like a new tool and we got to use that, like I think this one would be top. I think this is top though. If nothing else, I'll be real honest. I think the thing that takes it for me is grounded.
Fair. I just like that there's a variety of options of things that you can do that are different, and you know the time of day difference is cool to me. So even if no one utilizes the main part of it, you know, the fire
Yeah,
aspect, it's
cool.
still a cool time of day.
There's a lot to like. You got the new
Yeah,
time of day / wild card. You've got a couple new guns that are either
the
ones that
guns,
have been like two of them have been requested for a while. Like the Iron Sight and the have both been ones that
the
have been
Ironside and the what?
requested.
You cut out.
The Lamat Carabine.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
You've got the PAX tweaks with the faster fire rate and new ammo types. You've got bomb lance ammo types. You've got trinkets.
Lots of
Or what are
good
they
new
called?
content.
Yeah.
Weapon
There's
charms, yeah.
weapon charms. There's slight improvements with the whole contracts things. I think again, there slight complaints, but I think overall it's a step in the very much right. And a lot of the things
Right
that would
direction,
change
yeah.
were things that people have requested. And looking at it in hindsight, it really is. It seems like they've been building to this event.
It does feel that way, yeah.
It like, hey, we're testing out the battle pass. Okay, here's some tweaks to it. Hey, we're testing out quest lines. We're testing out summons. We're testing out how can you pick up things and then take them to a place to like cash them in.
Right, to do
Like
something with
Serpent's
them.
Moon. How do people like quest lines? Is that the best thing? Okay, people have some issues with it. How about challenges?
They're playing with new ideas, and that's good.
Yeah, and yeah, it very much is. It's the thing of I don't like all the new directions they took, but the fact that they're taking new directions and none of them are like awfully horrendous. Like they haven't done anything where I'm like, I can't believe they made a hunter who's bright pink.
Yeah, if
And
they do that, that is actually
and emote. Like if that happened, I'd be like, hey, I don't know about the tone of this.
Yeah,
but
I might be out after that.
Yeah, but it's the thing I don't think they've done anything horrible, and I like that. I like that they're experimenting. I like that they seem to be listening to the community. generally.
Generally.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Hunt event good.
Hunt event good. Well, let me.
Kevin's gonna save us all apparently.
Kevin is going to save us all. All right, I'm gonna end it here.
Okay.
2 hours in to a
This
recording.
it's just 2 hours of recording.
Yeah.
We might have to. You might just pop this
w-
into part
what-
1, part 2.
I might have to. When I start going quiet is when I've realized is when it starts to go too long.
Do we? How about okay? We'll end it and then we'll record like another intro for this one. So leave this as then people will know.
Fine.
People will know that like we record an intro here and then we cut that intro to the beginning. It'll be
No,
entertaining.
it's fine.
Okay.
I might just be able to cut it down. It'll be fine.
You can cut it down. I think it'd be fine to have it be a 2-part with this event though too.
That's fair.
Like just call it like Devil's Moon Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, I could do that. Although the first half wasn't all Devil's Moon stuff, but yeah, I'll figure it out.
It was pretty much all Devil's Moon, right?
I'm gonna go back and listen to it. So
yeah,
I'll let you know.
this is all getting cut. Let's end it first, and then we'll talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. You can find us in our link tree, individually, and all the Hunt Lowdown spots. And don't forget to bring your drugs into the bayou. Have a good one.
Bye, guys. Have a great one.
I like how you've just accepted it now.
Oh my gosh.